Are you ready to take your personal and professional life to the next level by mastering emotional intelligence and social skills? Imagine having the ability to navigate any situation with confidence, manage your emotions effectively, and build deeper, more meaningful relationships. Emotional intelligence is a powerful skill that not only helps you understand and control your emotions, but also allows you to connect with others on a deeper level, creating trust and rapport in both personal and professional settings. In this video, we'll guide you through proven strategies to develop your emotional intelligence and enhance your social skills. By the end, you'll have the tools to communicate more effectively, make informed decisions, and inspire those around you. Stay tuned and discover how mastering these essential skills can help you lead with influence and achieve success in all areas of your life. Chapter 1. Develop deep self-awareness by understanding and owning your emotions. To truly master emotional intelligence, you first have to understand the core of emotional awareness, your emotions themselves. These are the signals your body sends to tell you something important about your experiences, needs, and desires. However, far too often, we treat emotions like something to be feared or pushed aside, as though they are inconvenient or even threatening. But in reality, emotions are the gateway to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Every day, we experience a wide range of emotions. Some are pleasant, like joy or gratitude, while others are difficult, such as anger, sadness, or frustration. The key to emotional intelligence isn't about avoiding these emotions, but about understanding them on a profound level. It's about learning to take a step back, observe your feelings, and learn from them without being controlled by them. The first step in mastering emotional intelligence is to develop self-awareness. It's an essential skill for personal growth and effective communication. Without self-awareness, it's easy to fall into reactive patterns, acting on impulse, reacting in ways that don't align with our values, or allowing our emotions to control us. Self-awareness, on the other hand, empowers us to choose how we respond, even in the most emotionally charged situations. Self-awareness begins with acknowledging that your emotions are not just reactions, they are messengers. They tell you something about your internal state, your environment, and your deepest desires or fears. To truly own your emotions, you must first recognize them without judgment. Too often, we dismiss or invalidate our emotions, telling ourselves they are bad or wrong. Instead, we need to create a space where all emotions are welcome, without shame or resistance. This is not about indulging in every emotion, but about recognizing and understanding them for what they are, signals that deserve attention. This practice of recognizing and understanding your emotions begins with one simple act: mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment, fully aware of your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings. When you practice mindfulness, you stop reacting automatically to your emotions. Instead, you take a step back and simply observe. You create a space between the stimulus, the trigger, and your response. This space is where self-awareness thrives. It allows you to see your emotions for what they are, temporary responses to experiences, and gives you the power to decide how you want to respond to them. Another powerful tool for developing emotional self-awareness is journaling. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can provide you with a clear picture of what's going on inside. When you journal, you can reflect on the events of the day and how they made you feel. By putting your emotions into words, you begin to process them in a way that helps you gain insight and perspective. This practice allows you to identify patterns in your emotions, times when certain triggers consistently provoke strong reactions, and can also reveal how you can manage or change your emotional responses. But self-awareness isn't just about understanding the emotions you feel. It's also about recognizing the impact of those emotions on your actions, decisions, and relationships. Your emotional state influences how you interact with others, how you handle challenges, and how you show up in the world. For example, if you're feeling frustrated, that emotion might lead you to be short-tempered or withdrawn, which could affect your interactions with colleagues, friends, or loved ones. By being self-aware, you can recognize when your emotions are influencing your behavior and take steps to choose a more intentional response. It's also important to acknowledge that emotions can be complex. Sometimes, you might feel a mix of emotions at the same time: confusion, anxiety, excitement, or even guilt. These emotional overlaps can be difficult to navigate, but they also offer an opportunity for deeper self-awareness. When you explore these mixed emotions, you get to uncover what they are really telling you about your needs, values, and boundaries. Perhaps you're excited about a new opportunity, but also anxious about the uncertainty it brings. This blend of emotions is an invitation to explore your desires and fears, and ultimately make decisions that are aligned with your authentic self. Mastering emotional intelligence involves not only understanding your emotions, but also owning them. This means accepting full responsibility for how you feel and how you express those feelings. Too often, we fall into the trap of blaming others for our emotional responses. We say things like, "He made me angry," or "She hurt my feelings." While it's true that other people and situations can trigger emotions, ultimately, we are the ones who decide how to respond. Owning your emotions means taking responsibility for your feelings and not allowing them to dictate your behavior. One of the most empowering aspects of owning your emotions is the ability to choose how you express them. When you understand the root cause of your emotions, you can decide how to respond in a way that reflects your values and goals. If you feel angry, for instance, you can choose to express that emotion calmly and assertively, without letting it spill over into aggression or defensiveness. If you're feeling anxious about a challenge, you can choose to acknowledge the anxiety without letting it paralyze you or make you avoid the situation altogether. When you own your emotions, you take control of your responses, and in doing so you gain a sense of freedom and empowerment. This level of emotional awareness doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice, patience, and a willingness to be vulnerable with yourself. But the rewards are immeasurable. When you develop the ability to understand and own your emotions, you unlock the potential for more fulfilling relationships, greater resilience in the face of challenges, and a deeper connection to your own truth. You stop being ruled by your emotions and instead use them as tools for growth and self-discovery. There's also the profound impact this self-awareness can have on your relationships with others. When you understand your own emotions, you become better equipped to understand and empathize with the emotions of others. This is a crucial element of emotional intelligence, being able to tune into someone else's emotional state and respond with empathy, understanding, and support. By practicing self-awareness, you naturally cultivate the skills of empathy and compassion, which are essential for building trust and rapport in any relationship. Another key aspect of emotional intelligence is the ability to stay grounded in your values, even in the face of intense emotions. It's easy to let your emotions cloud your judgment and steer you off course. For example, when you're frustrated or upset, it's tempting to react impulsively, whether through sharp words, defensive behavior, or avoidance. But when you are self-aware, you can pause, reflect, and choose a response that is in alignment with your core values. This practice helps you remain calm under pressure and make decisions that reflect who you truly are. Emotions don't define you, but they shape your experiences. By developing a deep understanding of your emotions, you begin to unlock the power of emotional intelligence. It's a tool for greater clarity, peace, and confidence. And the more you practice self-awareness, the more you realize that your emotions are not obstacles to be overcome, they are signals to be understood, learned from, and mastered. This ongoing journey of emotional discovery will guide you toward becoming a more empowered, grounded, and authentic version of yourself. When you learn to understand and own your emotions, you gain a new sense of freedom. You are no longer a victim of your emotional responses. Instead, you become the architect of your emotional landscape, able to respond with intention and purpose. And as you continue to develop this awareness, you'll discover that you can navigate even the most challenging situations with grace, resilience, and emotional intelligence. This is the first step in mastering emotional intelligence, taking responsibility for your emotions, understanding what they are telling you, and choosing how to express them in a way that aligns with your highest self. From here, the possibilities for growth are endless. Chapter 2. Strengthen emotional regulation to remain calm in all situations. In a world filled with constant change, stress, and unpredictability, the ability to remain calm in the face of pressure is more valuable than ever. Emotional regulation, the practice of controlling and managing your emotions, allows you to maintain composure in any situation. It is not about suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about having the tools to respond thoughtfully, even when the emotions you feel are intense. When we talk about emotional regulation, we're talking about the capacity to maintain your emotional balance and resilience, no matter what life throws at you. It's about managing your emotional responses in a way that helps you navigate challenges with clarity and poise. Whether it's a difficult conversation at work, an argument with a loved one, or unexpected news that shakes you to your core, emotional regulation gives you the power to stay grounded and keep your emotions from taking control. The first step in strengthening your emotional regulation is understanding the importance of it. We live in an era where everything is moving faster than ever. We are bombarded with constant stimuli, news, social media, and the demands of work and personal life all compete for our attention. In the midst of this chaos, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or reactive. In moments like these, emotional regulation can serve as your anchor, helping you respond with intention instead of knee-jerk reactions. Many people mistakenly believe that emotional regulation means suppressing or ignoring their feelings. In reality, emotional regulation is about acknowledging your emotions without letting them dictate your actions. It's not about denying anger, sadness, or frustration. It's about recognizing those feelings and making a conscious choice to express them constructively. The power lies in your ability to pause, reflect, and choose how to respond instead of being driven by your emotions. Take a moment to reflect on a time when you lost control of your emotions. Maybe it was a heated argument or a stressful work situation. Now think about how you felt afterward. Perhaps you felt regret, guilt, or embarrassment because, in that moment, your emotions overtook your better judgment. These situations can leave you feeling out of control, and that's exactly why emotional regulation is crucial. It gives you the space to think before you act, to process your feelings in a healthy way, and to respond in a manner that serves your goals and values. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen emotional regulation is through mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being present and aware of your thoughts and feelings in the current moment, without judgment. When you practice mindfulness, you create a space between your emotional trigger and your reaction. This space gives you the opportunity to pause and choose your response, rather than reacting impulsively. A simple mindfulness technique involves focusing on your breath. The next time you find yourself in a stressful or emotional situation, take a few slow, deep breaths. Breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, and exhale for a count of 4. This rhythmic breathing helps to calm the nervous system and centers your focus. As you breathe, acknowledge the emotion you're feeling without judgment. You may feel angry, anxious, or frustrated, but by breathing and acknowledging the emotion, you take away its power to overwhelm you. Another technique for emotional regulation is cognitive reframing. This involves shifting your perspective on a situation to see it in a different light. When we are emotionally triggered, we often view the situation through a lens of negativity or frustration. Cognitive reframing helps you look at the situation from a more neutral or even positive perspective. For example, if you're dealing with a difficult coworker, instead of focusing on how frustrating they are, try to reframe the situation. Maybe this person is struggling with their own challenges, or perhaps they have a different communication style. By reframing the situation, you can reduce the emotional charge and respond more calmly and thoughtfully. Alongside mindfulness and cognitive reframing, practicing emotional awareness is crucial. Emotional awareness means being able to identify and label your emotions accurately. The more you practice naming your emotions, the better you become at understanding and regulating them. For instance, instead of just feeling bad, try to pinpoint whether you're actually feeling sad, frustrated, overwhelmed, or something else. This clarity allows you to address the emotion more directly and manage it more effectively. The process of strengthening emotional regulation also involves building emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is the ability to bounce back from difficult situations without being permanently affected by them. It's the ability to face challenges head-on, absorb the impact, and recover more quickly. To build emotional resilience, you must cultivate a mindset that views challenges as opportunities for growth. Instead of seeing a difficult situation as a threat, try to see it as an opportunity to develop patience, understanding, or problem-solving skills. One key to emotional resilience is maintaining a strong sense of self-awareness. The more you understand your emotional triggers, the more you can anticipate and prepare for them. If you know that certain situations tend to trigger frustration or anxiety in you, you can prepare yourself mentally and emotionally to handle them. Self-awareness helps you become more proactive rather than reactive when faced with emotional challenges. Another critical aspect of emotional regulation is learning to express your emotions in a healthy, constructive way. It's important to remember that emotions, when expressed appropriately, are not negative. The key is to express your feelings in a way that doesn't harm yourself or others. If you're feeling angry, for example, it's better to express that anger assertively rather than suppressing it or lashing out. Assertive communication involves stating your feelings and needs clearly and respectfully, without blaming or attacking others. In the same way, when you're feeling anxious or overwhelmed, it's important to express those emotions in a manner that allows you to release them without letting them control you. This could involve having an open conversation with someone you trust, or finding a healthy outlet for stress, such as physical exercise or creative expression. The goal is to ensure that your emotions are acknowledged and processed in a way that allows you to maintain your composure. Building emotional regulation also requires self-compassion. It's essential to be kind to yourself when you make mistakes. We all have moments when our emotions get the better of us. In those moments, instead of beating yourself up, treat yourself with the same compassion you would offer a friend. Acknowledge that you are human and that it's okay to feel emotions. The key is not to let them dictate your actions or prevent you from moving forward. Self-compassion helps you maintain emotional balance even when you face setbacks or challenges. The practice of emotional regulation is a lifelong journey. It's not something you achieve overnight, and there will always be moments when you struggle to maintain your emotional composure. But each time you practice, you strengthen your ability to remain calm under pressure. As you develop your emotional regulation skills, you'll notice a significant shift in how you experience stress and how you respond to challenging situations. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you'll feel more grounded and in control of your emotions, no matter what comes your way. One of the most powerful benefits of emotional regulation is the impact it has on your relationships. When you can manage your emotions effectively, you are more likely to communicate openly and respectfully with others. You become more empathetic, compassionate, and able to resolve conflicts with greater ease. Your relationships become healthier and more fulfilling because you are no longer ruled by emotional reactions that can create tension or misunderstandings. Moreover, emotional regulation strengthens your leadership abilities. In both personal and professional settings, leaders who remain calm in challenging situations inspire trust and confidence. When you lead with emotional intelligence, you set the tone for others to follow. People look to you for guidance in times of uncertainty, and your ability to stay composed in high-pressure situations gives them the reassurance they need to stay focused and productive. In the workplace, emotional regulation is a key component of success. It allows you to handle workplace challenges, whether they involve tight deadlines, difficult colleagues, or high-stakes projects, with poise and confidence. By managing your emotions effectively, you improve your decision-making, enhance your problem-solving skills, and build stronger, more collaborative relationships with co-workers. The ability to stay calm under pressure can also help you achieve your long-term career goals, as it enables you to navigate challenges without getting overwhelmed or distracted. At the core of emotional regulation is the idea that we are not our emotions. Our emotions are part of us, but they do not define us. The more we practice emotional regulation, the more we realize that we have the power to choose how we respond to life's challenges. We are the ones who decide whether to let our emotions control us or whether to remain grounded and resilient, no matter what happens. Ultimately, the practice of emotional regulation empowers us to lead a more balanced, intentional, and fulfilling life. It helps us maintain our clarity and focus, even in the most turbulent of circumstances. And as we continue to strengthen our emotional regulation skills, we become more capable of navigating the ups and downs of life with grace, resilience, and unwavering confidence. Chapter 3. Cultivate empathy to connect deeply with others and build trust. Empathy is a cornerstone of human connection. It allows us to deeply understand and share the feelings of others, creating bridges that lead to trust and meaningful relationships. Empathy isn't just about feeling for others, it's about truly feeling with them, engaging with their emotions, thoughts, and experiences in a way that fosters mutual respect and understanding. This powerful skill is not just beneficial for personal relationships, but also for professional success and leadership. The importance of cultivating empathy cannot be overstated. We live in a world where connection is more important than ever. In both our personal and professional lives, we encounter individuals with diverse experiences, perspectives, and struggles. When we fail to understand the emotions and viewpoints of others, we miss out on building genuine connections, alienating ourselves from the very relationships we seek to nurture. The ability to empathize opens doors to deeper communication, stronger bonds, and an environment built on trust. Think for a moment about the people you trust the most in your life. Likely, these individuals are the ones who truly understand you, who listen to your concerns, share in your joys, and offer support in times of need. Trust doesn't come easily, but empathy is a powerful force that can create it. It's through empathy that we develop a sense of belonging and safety, knowing that we are seen and heard for who we truly are. Empathy begins with active listening. Most of us are accustomed to listening in a transactional way. We hear what someone says, think about how to respond, and then offer our opinion. But active listening requires more than just hearing words. It demands full engagement with the other person's emotional experience. It means listening with your heart, not just your ears. When you truly listen, you can understand the feelings behind the words, the unsaid emotions that are often just as important as what's spoken. To practice active listening, start by focusing entirely on the person in front of you. Put away distractions, your phone, the TV, or anything else that might pull your attention away. Be fully present in the conversation. As you listen, reflect back what you hear. You might say, "It sounds like you're feeling frustrated because of how things turned out," or "I hear that you're feeling proud of the progress you've made." This shows that you are not only hearing their words, but also trying to understand the emotional context behind them. A key aspect of active listening is the absence of judgment. It's easy to jump to conclusions or offer advice immediately, but this can interrupt the flow of connection. Instead, allow the other person to express themselves fully before jumping in with your perspective. This demonstrates respect for their experience and creates space for them to feel validated. Another essential component of empathy is emotional attunement. This means tuning into the emotional state of the other person and adjusting your own emotional response to meet theirs. Emotional attunement requires sensitivity and awareness. It's about being able to sense when someone is struggling, even if they're not saying anything directly. It's the ability to recognize when someone's mood shifts, when they're feeling vulnerable or uncertain, and responding in a way that acknowledges their emotional state. For example, if a friend is going through a tough time, they may not always express their sadness in words. They might say something like, "I'm just tired," or "I'm fine," even though their body language and tone suggest otherwise. A person attuned to their emotions will notice these cues and respond with compassion, offering a listening ear or a comforting presence rather than simply dismissing their feelings. Emotional attunement builds a deep sense of connection and trust. When people feel understood and supported, they are more likely to open up and engage in honest, vulnerable conversations. In this way, empathy fosters an environment where trust can thrive. Empathy also involves a willingness to step outside of your own experience and see the world through someone else's eyes. This means acknowledging that everyone has their own unique history, struggles, and perspective. While it may be tempting to impose your own viewpoint or advice on others, true empathy requires you to listen and understand their situation without rushing to judgment or correction. It means embracing the idea that there are multiple valid perspectives, and each person's experience is unique to them. A powerful way to cultivate this kind of empathy is by asking open-ended questions that invite the other person to share their feelings and experiences. Questions like, "How are you really feeling?" or "What's been on your mind lately?" Encourage the other person to dive deeper into their emotions and experiences, giving them the opportunity to express themselves in a way that feels safe and understood. Additionally, practicing empathy requires vulnerability. To connect deeply with others, you must be willing to open up about your own emotions, share your own struggles, and let others see your true self. Vulnerability fosters trust because it demonstrates that you are willing to be authentic and human. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we create an environment where others feel safe to do the same. This creates a reciprocal relationship of empathy where both parties understand each other's experiences and feel supported by one another. Building trust through empathy isn't just about being a good listener, it's also about being present and responsive. Empathy involves responding to the other person's emotions in a way that validates their feelings. When someone shares something personal, the response you give matters deeply. Acknowledge their emotions and express understanding before offering solutions or advice. Sometimes, just saying, "That sounds really tough," or "I can see how hard that must be for you," can be enough to show you care and are fully engaged with their experience. Empathy isn't always easy. It requires emotional investment and the ability to manage your own emotions while being present for others. There will be times when you're faced with someone else's pain, frustration, or sorrow, and it may be difficult to sit with those emotions. However, the ability to tolerate and respond to the emotional experiences of others is crucial to building trust and forming authentic connections. The more you practice empathy, the more natural it becomes to remain present and compassionate in the face of emotional distress. One of the most profound effects of empathy is its ability to break down barriers. When we empathize with others, we transcend differences, whether those differences are cultural, racial, political, or personal. Empathy allows us to see beyond the surface and recognize the shared humanity in everyone. It is through empathy that we bridge divides, resolve conflicts, and create spaces for understanding and collaboration. Furthermore, empathy strengthens relationships by fostering mutual respect. It shows that you value the other person's thoughts, emotions, and experiences. When trust is built on empathy, it becomes a foundation for deep, lasting connections. These connections are not based on superficial interactions, but on genuine understanding and shared emotional experiences. People who feel understood are more likely to engage honestly and authentically, leading to stronger and more meaningful relationships. Empathy is not limited to one-on-one interactions. In teams and organizations, empathy fosters a culture of collaboration and cooperation. Leaders who demonstrate empathy create an environment where employees feel valued and understood. This, in turn, leads to higher levels of engagement, motivation, and job satisfaction. When leaders take the time to listen to their teams, understand their challenges, and provide support, they create a foundation of trust that empowers employees to give their best. Empathy also plays a critical role in conflict resolution. In any relationship, disagreements and conflicts are inevitable. However, when both parties are committed to empathy, conflicts can be navigated with greater ease and respect. Instead of focusing on winning the argument, the goal shifts to understanding the other person's point of view and finding a solution that works for everyone. Empathy helps to de-escalate tension, reduce hostility, and create a collaborative atmosphere where mutual respect is prioritized. One of the most transformative effects of empathy is its ability to inspire compassion. When we practice empathy, we are not only understanding others' emotions, but we are also motivated to act in ways that alleviate their suffering. Empathy leads to kindness, generosity, and a willingness to help others, strengthening the sense of community and connection between individuals. Cultivating empathy is a lifelong journey, one that requires ongoing self-awareness, active listening, and emotional openness. It is a skill that can be honed with practice and intentional effort. As you continue to develop empathy, you will find that your relationships become more meaningful, your trust with others deepens, and your ability to connect with people on a profound level expands. Empathy transforms how we see the world and how we engage with those around us. It's a powerful tool for creating understanding, fostering trust, and building deeper, more authentic relationships. By choosing empathy, you are choosing to connect deeply with others, to listen and understand, and to cultivate trust that lasts. Chapter 4. Master active listening to enhance communication and strengthen relationships. Active listening is one of the most powerful tools for building stronger relationships and enhancing communication. It's not just about hearing what someone says, it's about fully understanding their message, engaging with it, and responding in a way that makes them feel heard and valued. Mastering this skill can transform your relationships, whether personal, professional, or casual, by fostering trust, deepening connections, and making conversations more meaningful. At its core, active listening requires intentionality. It demands that you focus all your attention on the speaker, setting aside any distractions or preconceived notions. It's about being present in the moment, completely engaged with the words, emotions, and intentions of the person in front of you. This level of presence is a rare gift in today's fast-paced, always connected world, where multitasking is often seen as a badge of honor. But when it comes to relationships, multitasking and distracted listening do more harm than good. They create gaps in understanding, erode trust, and prevent meaningful connections from forming. The first step in mastering active listening is making the conscious decision to be fully present. This means putting away your phone, turning off the TV, or stepping away from any distractions. When someone speaks to you, they are offering something of value, whether it's information, an emotion, or a perspective. If you want to honor that, you must give them your undivided attention. But attention is not just about your physical presence, it's also about your mental and emotional engagement. Your mind should be focused entirely on the speaker, blocking out any internal distractions, like your own thoughts or judgments. One of the key aspects of active listening is showing that you are listening. This can be done through both verbal and non-verbal cues. Eye contact, nodding, and leaning in slightly can signal that you are paying attention. These small gestures communicate interest and make the speaker feel valued. But it's not just about body language, it's also about verbal affirmations. Phrases like, "I understand," "I see what you're saying," or "that makes sense." Let the speaker know that you're engaged with what they're sharing. However, it's important to use these phrases sparingly. Overuse can make it feel like you're just repeating empty words, rather than genuinely engaging with the conversation. Listening without interrupting is another vital element of active listening. In many conversations, people feel the urge to jump in with their own thoughts or solutions as soon as the other person pauses. However, this often prevents the speaker from fully expressing themselves and can come across as dismissive. The goal of active listening is not to respond immediately, but to understand. Interruptions can disrupt the flow of the conversation, making the speaker feel unheard or invalidated. It's important to let the speaker finish their thought before you respond. This creates space for deeper expression and ensures that the other person feels fully heard. When you allow someone to finish speaking, it also gives you time to process what they've said. This is where the art of reflection comes into play. Instead of immediately jumping to your own thoughts, take a moment to digest the information. Reflect on what the speaker is saying, both on a literal level and an emotional level. What are they really trying to communicate? What emotions are underlying their words? Are there nuances or non-verbal cues that could provide additional context? This reflection deepens your understanding of the message and enhances your ability to respond thoughtfully. One of the most powerful techniques in active listening is paraphrasing. When you paraphrase, you summarize what the speaker has said in your own words. This shows that you not only heard them, but also understood their message. It also provides an opportunity for the speaker to correct any misunderstandings. Paraphrasing can be as simple as saying, "So what I hear you saying is," or "It sounds like you're feeling." By restating their message, you invite the speaker to clarify or expand on their point, creating a more interactive and dynamic conversation. It also makes the speaker feel validated, knowing that you're truly paying attention to their words. Active listening also requires asking open-ended questions that encourage deeper conversation. These questions help the speaker elaborate on their thoughts and emotions, revealing more of their perspective. Rather than asking yes or no questions, ask questions like, "How did that make you feel?" or "What was going through your mind when that happened?" Open-ended questions foster a sense of curiosity and show the speaker that you are genuinely interested in their experience. They also promote a more in-depth exchange, allowing both parties to explore ideas and feelings more fully. While the goal of active listening is to understand, it's also about empathizing with the speaker. Empathy is the ability to not only comprehend someone's perspective, but also to emotionally resonate with it. When you empathize with someone, you are connecting with their emotional state, showing them that you care about their feelings. This doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they say or feel the same emotions, but it does mean you acknowledge and validate their experience. Empathy builds trust because it creates a sense of emotional safety. When people feel that you understand their emotions, they are more likely to open up, share honestly, and develop a stronger connection with you. To truly master active listening, it's important to manage your own responses. It's easy to fall into the trap of wanting to fix problems or offer advice right away, but active listening is about understanding before offering solutions. If the speaker hasn't asked for your advice or opinion, resist the urge to jump in with a solution. Instead, focus on creating a space where they feel comfortable expressing their feelings and ideas. Responding with empathy and understanding rather than jumping into problem-solving shows that you value the speaker's experience. It also promotes a deeper sense of connection and trust in the conversation. Another important aspect of active listening is being aware of your own biases and judgments. We all have preconceived notions based on our past experiences, cultural backgrounds, and personal beliefs. These biases can affect how we interpret what others say. To truly listen, you must be willing to set aside these biases and approach the conversation with an open mind. This doesn't mean you have to agree with everything the other person says, but it does mean that you are listening without the filter of your own assumptions. When you listen with an open mind, you create an environment where the speaker feels free to express themselves without fear of judgment. Mastering active listening is not just about improving individual conversations, it's about enhancing the overall quality of your relationships. Whether you're communicating with a partner, a colleague, or a friend, active listening helps build stronger, more resilient bonds. It fosters a sense of respect and appreciation, creating an environment where both parties feel heard and understood. Active listening also reduces the likelihood of misunderstandings and conflicts. When people feel listened to, they are less likely to become defensive or frustrated, making it easier to resolve disagreements in a constructive way. The benefits of active listening extend beyond personal relationships. In the workplace, it can lead to more effective teamwork, clearer communication, and increased productivity. Leaders who practice active listening are better equipped to understand the needs and concerns of their teams, which leads to better decision-making and a more positive work environment. Employees who feel heard are more likely to be engaged, motivated, and committed to their work. By fostering open communication and mutual respect, active listening helps create a culture of collaboration and trust. In addition to improving communication, active listening also enhances emotional intelligence. By paying attention to both verbal and non-verbal cues, you can gain a deeper understanding of how people are feeling. This allows you to respond more thoughtfully and empathetically, which strengthens your relationships and helps you navigate challenging situations more effectively. Emotional intelligence is a crucial skill for building strong personal and professional relationships, and active listening is one of the most important ways to develop it. Ultimately, mastering active listening is a lifelong process. It requires constant practice, patience, and self-awareness. But the rewards are well worth the effort. When you truly listen to others, you open the door to deeper understanding, stronger connections, and more meaningful relationships. By embracing active listening, you become a more compassionate, thoughtful, and effective communicator, one who fosters trust, builds rapport, and enhances the quality of every interaction. Whether in your personal life, your professional life, or any other area, the ability to listen actively and engage meaningfully will transform the way you relate to the world and the people around you. Chapter 5. Practice resilience to bounce back quickly from setbacks. Resilience is an invaluable trait that can help you navigate life's challenges with strength and perseverance. It's not about avoiding difficulties. It's about learning to recover from them quickly and effectively. Setbacks are a part of life, but how you respond to them can determine your future success. Instead of letting adversity break you down, you can train yourself to bounce back, stronger and more determined than before. Resilience is the secret to overcoming obstacles, maintaining momentum, and ultimately achieving your goals. The foundation of resilience lies in your mindset. It's the way you perceive challenges and how you interpret the setbacks you face. People with a resilient mindset don't view failure as a permanent state or an indication of their abilities. Instead, they see failure as a learning experience, an opportunity to grow and improve. When setbacks occur, resilient individuals don't wallow in self-pity or allow themselves to be consumed by frustration. They acknowledge the difficulty of the situation, but they also choose to focus on solutions and the actions they can take to move forward. They understand that setbacks are temporary, and they don't define their worth or potential. To cultivate resilience, the first step is to shift your mindset towards growth. This is often referred to as having a growth mindset, a concept popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck. People with a growth mindset believe that their abilities and intelligence can be developed over time with effort, learning, and perseverance. They see challenges as opportunities to stretch themselves rather than as threats to their self-worth. When setbacks arise, they don't see them as personal failures, but rather as valuable lessons on the path to success. By embracing a growth mindset, you shift your focus from the difficulty of the situation to the lessons you can learn and the progress you can make. Another essential aspect of resilience is the ability to maintain a sense of control in difficult circumstances. Life can often feel unpredictable and chaotic, and setbacks can make it seem like everything is spinning out of control. But resilient individuals understand that while they may not always be able to control external events, they can control how they respond. They don't allow themselves to become overwhelmed by things outside their control. Instead, they focus on the actions they can take, the choices they can make, and the perspective they can adopt. By maintaining control over their responses, they empower themselves to navigate challenges with clarity and confidence. One of the most powerful tools for building resilience is the practice of self-compassion. It's easy to be harsh with yourself when things go wrong. You may think, "I should have done better," or "I can't believe I failed." However, this kind of self-criticism only serves to weaken your resilience and prevent you from moving forward. Resilient individuals practice self-compassion by treating themselves with the same kindness, understanding, and patience they would offer a close friend. When faced with a setback, they acknowledge their mistakes or shortcomings without judgment, and then take constructive steps to learn and improve. By practicing self-compassion, you create a positive internal environment that fosters growth and healing. Resilience also requires a strong sense of purpose. When you have a clear understanding of why you're pursuing your goals, setbacks become less daunting. Your sense of purpose acts as a guiding light, helping you stay focused and motivated even when things don't go as planned. It reminds you of the bigger picture and encourages you to keep pushing forward, even when the path seems uncertain. Whether your purpose is driven by personal values, a desire to make a difference, or a vision of the future you want to create, having a sense of meaning and direction can keep you grounded during tough times. Building resilience is also about developing emotional regulation skills. When faced with setbacks, emotions like frustration, anger, and disappointment can easily take over. However, allowing these emotions to dictate your behavior can lead to poor decision-making and further setbacks. Resilient individuals have learned to manage their emotions in a healthy way. This doesn't mean suppressing or ignoring their feelings, but rather acknowledging and processing them without letting them control their actions. Techniques like mindfulness, deep breathing, and journaling can help you regulate your emotions, allowing you to approach challenges with a calm and focused mind. Additionally, resilience involves the ability to stay flexible and adapt when things don't go as planned. Life is unpredictable, and no matter how much we prepare, things will often take an unexpected turn. Resilient individuals understand that flexibility is key to overcoming challenges. Instead of rigidly clinging to one course of action, they are willing to adjust their plans and approach as needed. They see obstacles as detours, not dead ends, and are open to exploring alternative solutions. This adaptability allows them to keep moving forward, no matter what happens. Another crucial aspect of resilience is the ability to maintain a positive outlook, even in the face of adversity. It's easy to become disheartened when things aren't going well, but resilient people know that maintaining optimism is essential for overcoming challenges. They practice optimism by reframing negative situations and focusing on what they can control. Rather than seeing a setback as the end of the road, they view it as an opportunity to bounce back stronger. Maintaining a positive outlook doesn't mean ignoring the difficulties you face. It means choosing to focus on the possibilities and solutions rather than the obstacles. Support systems are also a vital component of resilience. No one can face setbacks alone, and having a strong network of family, friends, mentors, or colleagues can provide the encouragement and perspective needed to persevere. When you encounter challenges, a support system can offer emotional support, practical advice, or simply a listening ear. Knowing that you are not alone in your struggles can make a significant difference in your ability to bounce back. Resilient individuals recognize the importance of building and nurturing these relationships, as they provide the strength and encouragement necessary to overcome obstacles. When setbacks occur, it's important to acknowledge the emotional impact they may have on you. It's okay to feel disappointed, frustrated, or even angry when things don't go as planned. Resilience doesn't mean suppressing these emotions. It means allowing yourself to feel them, processing them, and then moving forward. By accepting that setbacks are a natural part of life, you remove the stigma around failure and create a healthier relationship with challenges. You learn that it's not about avoiding setbacks, but about how quickly and effectively you can recover from them. One of the most empowering aspects of resilience is the ability to take ownership of your response to setbacks. Rather than feeling like a victim of circumstances, resilient individuals take full responsibility for their actions and choices. They understand that while they may not have control over everything that happens to them, they always have control over how they respond. This sense of agency fosters empowerment and fuels the drive to keep moving forward, no matter what challenges arise. Instead of focusing on the unfairness of the situation, resilient people ask themselves, "What can I learn from this? What action can I take now?" The ability to bounce back quickly from setbacks also requires a long-term perspective. Often the pressure to overcome immediate challenges can feel overwhelming. It's important to remember that setbacks are just a small part of the bigger picture. Every successful person has faced obstacles along the way, and the key to their success was their ability to keep going, one step at a time. By keeping your eyes on the long-term goal, you can remain focused and committed, even when the going gets tough. Resilience is built by taking small, consistent actions toward your goals, regardless of the setbacks you face along the way. Resilience isn't something that comes naturally to everyone, but it's a skill that can be developed over time. By changing your mindset, practicing emotional regulation, staying flexible, and leaning on your support system, you can bounce back quickly from setbacks and keep moving toward your goals. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to build resilience, and every time you recover from a setback, you grow stronger. The more you practice resilience, the more natural it becomes to stay focused, maintain a positive outlook, and keep pushing forward, no matter what obstacles stand in your way. Chapter 6. Read non-verbal cues to understand others' feelings and intentions. Non-verbal communication plays a pivotal role in understanding the deeper layers of human interaction. When words fail, body language, facial expressions, and even the smallest gestures can speak volumes. Recognizing and interpreting non-verbal cues is not just about observing physical actions. It's about tuning into the subtle signals that provide insight into people's emotions, thoughts, and intentions. Mastering this skill enhances your ability to connect with others, build trust, and navigate social dynamics with greater ease and understanding. The first step in understanding non-verbal cues is becoming acutely aware of the body language signals that are often unnoticed or overlooked. Every movement, posture, or facial expression carries meaning. One of the most common non-verbal cues people give is their posture. The way someone stands or sits can reveal their level of confidence, openness, or defensiveness. For example, a person who stands tall with shoulders back is often perceived as confident, whereas someone with slumped shoulders may appear withdrawn or uncertain. The way we position ourselves in relation to others can also indicate how we feel in their presence. If someone is facing you with their body completely turned toward you, it typically suggests interest and attentiveness, while someone who is facing away or has their arms crossed may be signaling disengagement or discomfort. Facial expressions are another crucial aspect of non-verbal communication. Our faces are incredibly expressive, capable of conveying a wide range of emotions in an instant. The key to interpreting facial expressions lies in noticing the smallest changes. A slight furrow in the brow, the tightening of the lips, or a fleeting smile can offer valuable insight into someone's emotional state. However, it's essential to understand that facial expressions can sometimes be misleading, depending on cultural differences or personal habits. For instance, a smile doesn't always mean happiness, and a frown doesn't always indicate displeasure. It's crucial to consider the context and the individual's baseline behavior before drawing conclusions. Eye contact is another powerful non-verbal cue. Eyes can express a person's level of engagement, interest, and trustworthiness. Direct eye contact can indicate confidence, attentiveness, and sincerity, but too much prolonged eye contact can come off as confrontational or invasive. On the other hand, avoiding eye contact can signal discomfort, insecurity, or a lack of interest. The key is to balance eye contact, as subtle cues such as blinking frequency and pupil dilation can also reveal underlying emotions like anxiety, stress, or attraction. Understanding the nuance of eye contact can help you gauge whether someone is genuinely engaged in the conversation or if they're distracted or uncomfortable. In addition to facial expressions and posture, gestures are a major component of non-verbal communication. People use their hands, arms, and other parts of their body to emphasize, clarify, or underline what they are saying. A person who gestures widely while speaking may be passionate or excited, while someone who keeps their hands still or tucked in might be conveying a sense of reservation or uncertainty. Handshakes, for instance, can reveal a lot about a person's approachability, confidence, and intentions. A firm handshake often signifies self-assurance, while a limp handshake might suggest a lack of confidence or a desire to avoid confrontation. However, gestures can vary significantly across cultures, so it's important to consider the cultural context when interpreting them. In some cultures, a firm handshake is a sign of respect, while in others, it may be seen as a sign of aggression or dominance. Similarly, eye contact that's considered respectful in one culture might be perceived as rude or challenging in another. Understanding these differences allows you to navigate cross-cultural interactions more effectively and avoid misinterpreting the cues you're receiving. The way someone moves can also provide insight into their emotional state. For instance, quick, erratic movements can be a sign of nervousness, anxiety, or impatience, while slow, deliberate movements may suggest calmness, control, or contemplation. Pay attention to how someone transitions between activities or how they handle physical objects. If someone fidgets constantly, taps their foot, or plays with their hair, they may be signaling restlessness or discomfort. Conversely, someone who moves with a sense of grace and ease might be comfortable and at ease with their surroundings. Another non-verbal cue that's often overlooked is the tone and pace of someone's voice. While this may be considered more of a verbal cue, it still falls under the category of non-verbal communication because it communicates emotions and intentions that go beyond words. A person's tone can indicate sarcasm, warmth, irritation, or enthusiasm, and the speed at which they speak can reveal their level of stress or urgency. If someone is speaking quickly, they may be nervous or anxious, whereas a slow, deliberate pace often signals thoughtfulness or a desire to convey authority and control. To enhance your ability to read non-verbal cues, it's essential to observe people in context. Body language and facial expressions alone can be misleading without considering the environment, the situation, and the individual's baseline behavior. For instance, a person who is usually relaxed and easygoing might seem tense and withdrawn in a high-pressure meeting, which could be a response to stress or anxiety, rather than an indication of their true feelings about the situation. Likewise, cultural norms can affect the way people express themselves non-verbally. It's important to avoid making snap judgments based solely on isolated cues. Instead, take the time to consider the broader context before interpreting someone's emotions or intentions. A powerful tool for reading non-verbal cues is active observation. This means paying close attention not only to what someone says, but also to how they say it, how they move, and how they respond to others. By observing the overall picture, you can gain a deeper understanding of their emotional state and intentions. For example, if someone is speaking in a calm and controlled manner, but their body is tense, or they avoid eye contact, it may indicate that they are uncomfortable or withholding something. Alternatively, if someone is smiling and making direct eye contact, yet their body is turned away, it may suggest that they are being polite, but not fully engaged in the interaction. It's also important to recognize that non-verbal cues are not always consciously controlled. People often give off signals without realizing it. For instance, when someone is lying, they may subconsciously exhibit signs of discomfort, such as avoiding eye contact, fidgeting, or touching their face. These behaviors are not foolproof indicators of dishonesty, but when combined with inconsistencies in their verbal statements, they can signal that something is off. Likewise, when someone is genuinely happy or excited, their facial expressions, body language and voice will typically align in a way that conveys their positive emotions. Another essential aspect of reading nonverbal cues is understanding the concept of congruence. This refers to the alignment between a person's verbal communication and their nonverbal signals. When someone's words and body language are in harmony, it's easier to trust their message. However, when there is a disconnect between the two, such as someone saying they are happy while their body language suggests they are angry or upset, it's a sign that they may not be fully open or honest about their feelings. Being attuned to this incongruence can help you understand when someone might be withholding information or not fully expressing themselves. Over time, as you become more skilled at reading nonverbal cues, you will start to notice patterns and nuances that reveal the emotions and intentions of those around you. This heightened awareness can help you build stronger relationships, create deeper connections, and navigate social dynamics with greater confidence and understanding. By recognizing and respecting the nonverbal cues that others send, you demonstrate empathy and emotional intelligence, which can lead to more positive and meaningful interactions. Nonverbal communication is a powerful tool for understanding others on a deeper level. Whether it's through body language, facial expressions, gestures, or tone of voice, these subtle cues provide invaluable insight into a person's emotions, thoughts, and intentions. By becoming more attuned to these signals and learning to interpret them within the context of the situation, you can improve your ability to connect with others, build trust, and navigate complex social interactions with greater ease. Developing this skill takes time, but the rewards are well worth the effort. Chapter 7. Build rapport and trust to create lasting positive connections. The foundation of any meaningful relationship, whether personal or professional, is trust. Without it, communication falters, collaboration weakens, and connections become shallow. To build rapport and trust is not simply about showing up and saying the right things. It requires intentional actions, consistency, and a deep understanding of what makes human interactions thrive. Building trust isn't a one-time event or a set of tricks you use to gain favor. It's a process that evolves over time and through mutual respect, understanding, and genuine care for the other person. Trust begins with authenticity. People can sense when someone is being genuine and when they're putting on a facade. The first step in building rapport is to be yourself. Don't try to be someone you're not just to please others or fit into a mold. Authenticity creates a sense of security, as people can tell when you're being real. When you speak and act in alignment with your values, people are more likely to open up and reciprocate that same level of honesty. The key is to be transparent, show vulnerability, and allow yourself to be seen for who you truly are, not a polished version created for approval. Equally important is showing empathy in all your interactions. Empathy isn't simply about feeling sorry for someone when they're going through a tough time. It's about deeply understanding and sharing in their feelings, whether those feelings are joy, sadness, or frustration. When people see that you genuinely care about their emotions and experiences, they feel valued. This emotional connection lays the groundwork for building trust, as it demonstrates that you are present, you understand, and you respect their perspective. Active listening plays a huge role in establishing rapport. Often in our conversations, we're so eager to offer advice or jump in with our own thoughts that we forget the importance of truly listening. When you listen actively, you focus entirely on the speaker, giving them your full attention without distractions. This shows respect for their words and emotions. Active listening means that you're not just hearing their words, but you're also paying attention to nonverbal cues, such as body language and tone, which communicate just as much, if not more than words. By listening without interrupting or offering immediate solutions, you allow others to feel heard, understood, and validated. One of the most powerful ways to build rapport is by mirroring the other person's behavior. This doesn't mean imitating them in a way that feels contrived, but rather subtly mimicking their body language, speech patterns, or emotional tone. Mirroring creates a sense of familiarity and comfort. People naturally feel more connected to those who share similarities with them, even on an unconscious level. However, it's essential to do this in a way that feels natural and not forced. The goal is not to manipulate the situation, but to create a sense of harmony and understanding. It's an intuitive and powerful way to strengthen connections and make others feel at ease. Another key component of building rapport is consistency. Trust cannot be built overnight. It requires consistent actions that match your words. When you say you're going to do something, follow through. When you make promises, deliver on them. Consistency breeds reliability, and when people can depend on you, trust naturally follows. If your actions and words align, it communicates to others that you are someone who can be counted on. However, consistency also means being dependable in times of both joy and difficulty. Being there for someone when things are tough is often the moment that deepens the connection the most. Vulnerability is another critical aspect of trust building. Many people fear vulnerability because they associate it with weakness. But in reality, showing vulnerability can be one of the most powerful ways to build trust. When you open up about your struggles, imperfections, and fears, you create an environment where others feel comfortable doing the same. Vulnerability humanizes you and shows that you are willing to be honest about both your strengths and weaknesses. By allowing yourself to be vulnerable, you invite others to engage with you on a deeper level, creating a space for authentic connection. Building trust also requires patience. Trust is not something that can be rushed, nor is it something that can be assumed based on a few positive interactions. It takes time for people to feel comfortable enough to trust you fully. This is why it's important to be patient and allow the relationship to unfold naturally. Trust grows incrementally through each interaction. It's not a single conversation that cements it, but rather the cumulative effect of many small, consistent actions. The more you show up as a reliable, genuine, and empathetic individual, the stronger the trust becomes. Transparency is another vital aspect of trust building. If you want others to trust you, it's essential to be open about your thoughts, intentions, and actions. Hiding things or being deceptive, even in small ways, can erode trust faster than anything else. When people feel that you're transparent, they're more likely to be open and transparent with you in return. Transparency creates an atmosphere of honesty, and in this environment, people feel safe. They know that they can trust you because you are forthright with them. In turn, this encourages others to do the same. Another key way to build trust is by showing respect. Respect is the cornerstone of any lasting relationship. When you treat people with kindness, honor their boundaries, and value their opinions, you demonstrate that you are worthy of their trust. Respect is not just about acknowledging someone's position or authority. It's about recognizing their humanity and treating them with dignity. Whether you agree with them or not, respecting their viewpoint and giving them the space to express themselves without judgment fosters an environment of mutual trust. In addition to these qualities, building rapport also involves finding common ground. Shared interests or experiences can help create an immediate connection and a foundation for the relationship to grow. This shared understanding fosters a sense of belonging and unity. Even in professional settings, finding areas of common interest can break down barriers and create a sense of camaraderie. When people feel that they have something in common with you, they are more likely to trust you. This doesn't mean you need to agree on everything, but finding a shared interest or goal can establish a sense of rapport that strengthens the bond. Finally, a sense of humor can be an incredible tool in building rapport. Humor lightens the mood and breaks down barriers, making interactions feel less formal or tense. When people laugh together, they bond over a shared experience, which fosters a sense of connection. A well-timed joke or light-hearted conversation can ease the tension in a room and create a positive environment where trust can flourish. Humor, when used appropriately, is a great way to build rapport and help others feel comfortable around you. Building rapport and trust takes time and effort. It's not something that happens overnight, but through consistent, genuine actions, trust can deepen and grow. By being authentic, empathetic, consistent, and respectful, you create a space where people feel safe to open up and build lasting, meaningful connections. Trust is the foundation of any successful relationship, and when it's nurtured, it has the power to create strong, positive bonds that can withstand the test of time. Chapter 8. Communicate assertively to express yourself clearly and confidently. Assertiveness is a skill that empowers you to express your thoughts, feelings, and needs openly, honestly, and respectfully. It involves standing up for yourself without being aggressive or passive, finding a balance between expressing your needs while respecting the needs of others. Assertive communication isn't about dominating or overpowering. It's about conveying your message clearly, confidently, and in a way that fosters mutual respect. When you communicate assertively, you claim your space, allowing your voice to be heard without fear or hesitation. Too often, people find themselves caught in patterns of either passivity, where they suppress their needs, or aggression, where they bulldoze over others. Both approaches lead to frustration, misunderstandings, and unresolved conflict. Assertiveness is about choosing a middle ground, a space where your voice matters and where you can express yourself without fear of judgment or retaliation. To communicate assertively, it's crucial to first understand the importance of your own voice. Many people shrink back from expressing themselves because they fear how others will react. The fear of being judged, rejected, or misunderstood can lead to silence or submission, but it also leads to inner frustration. When we suppress our needs or desires, we create an inner conflict that grows over time. That feeling of powerlessness can bleed into other areas of our lives, affecting our overall well-being and self-esteem. Recognizing the importance of your voice is the first step in reclaiming your power and learning how to communicate assertively. One of the key aspects of assertive communication is clarity. When you express yourself, it's important to do so in a way that leaves little room for misunderstanding. Vague or unclear communication can lead to confusion and frustration. People often avoid assertiveness because they feel their message may be too blunt or harsh, but the opposite is true. By speaking clearly and directly, you ensure that your message is understood and that there's no ambiguity. This doesn't mean being rude or harsh. Assertiveness is about being firm but respectful. It's about saying what you mean in a way that is constructive, not destructive. Another essential aspect of assertive communication is confidence. When you speak with confidence, you project a sense of self-assurance that others can feel. People are naturally drawn to individuals who are confident because they exude a sense of control and poise. Confidence is not something that is innate in everyone, but it is a skill that can be developed. When you speak assertively, you convey the belief that your thoughts, opinions, and feelings matter, and that they deserve to be heard. Even if you feel nervous or unsure, speaking confidently helps to project authority and certainty, making others more likely to listen and engage. A critical piece of assertiveness is understanding that your feelings are valid and worth expressing. Many people fall into the trap of dismissing their emotions, either because they feel they aren't important enough to share, or because they fear being seen as weak or needy. The truth is, every emotion you feel is an important indicator of your needs, boundaries, and desires. By learning to recognize and express these feelings, you not only advocate for yourself, but also demonstrate emotional intelligence and self-awareness. When you communicate assertively, you take ownership of your emotions instead of letting them control you. You acknowledge them, express them appropriately, and use them as tools to strengthen your relationships and your sense of self. In assertive communication, using I statements is key. Instead of pointing fingers or making accusatory statements, an I statement takes responsibility for your thoughts and feelings. For example, instead of saying "you never listen to me," which can sound blaming and confrontational, you can say, "I feel unheard when you don't give me your full attention." This subtle shift allows you to communicate your feelings without attacking or accusing the other person. It takes the focus off their behavior and places it on your experience, fostering an environment where the other person is more likely to listen and respond with empathy. Another important aspect of assertiveness is learning to say no. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear rejection or disappointing others. However, saying no is an essential part of maintaining your well-being and preserving healthy relationships. Saying no doesn't mean you're being rude or selfish. It means you're respecting your own limits and making choices that align with your values and priorities. The ability to say no assertively is empowering because it allows you to take control of your time, energy, and emotions. When you say no, you assert your right to make decisions that serve your best interests. Body language is another powerful tool in assertive communication. Non-verbal cues often convey more than words alone. If your body language is closed off or defensive, your words may not have the desired impact. On the other hand, open, confident body language reinforces your message and helps you to appear more approachable and trustworthy. Make eye contact, stand tall, and use gestures to emphasize your points. When your body language aligns with your words, you create a sense of cohesion and strength that reinforces the assertiveness of your communication. One of the most important elements of assertive communication is learning to manage conflict constructively. Conflict is an inevitable part of any relationship, but it doesn't have to be destructive. When you communicate assertively during a conflict, you focus on resolving the issue rather than attacking the other person. Instead of letting emotions escalate and allowing misunderstandings to take over, assertive communication helps you stay focused on the solution. You remain calm, composed, and centered, speaking from a place of understanding and mutual respect. This approach not only resolves the issue at hand, but also strengthens the relationship in the process. It's also important to remember that assertiveness is not about controlling or manipulating others. Rather, it's about expressing your thoughts and feelings in a way that respects both yourself and others. Healthy assertiveness is always rooted in respect for both parties. When you communicate assertively, you make it clear that you value your needs just as much as you value the needs of others. You acknowledge their perspective, but you also make space for your own voice to be heard. This balance fosters mutual respect and creates a more equitable dynamic in your interactions. While assertiveness is an incredibly important skill, it's important to understand that it's something that takes time to develop. For many, Being assertive doesn't come naturally. It's something that requires practice and dedication. If you've spent years suppressing your voice or avoiding confrontation, it may feel uncomfortable at first to speak up. But the more you practice assertiveness, the more confident and natural it will feel. Start with small steps, express your needs in low-stakes situations, and gradually build up to more difficult conversations. Over time, you will strengthen your assertive communication skills and develop greater confidence in yourself and your ability to express yourself clearly. Assertiveness is also about self-awareness. It's important to understand your own boundaries, needs, and values before you can communicate them effectively. Being clear on your own wants and limitations allows you to navigate conversations with more certainty. If you're unsure of what you want or need, it can be difficult to express that to others. The more in tune you are with yourself, the more effectively you can communicate assertively. Incorporating assertiveness into your daily interactions will help you form stronger, healthier relationships. You will gain more respect from others because they will see that you value yourself and your time. At the same time, assertive communication fosters an atmosphere of respect, where both parties can express their thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment or retaliation. It encourages open dialogue, reduces the likelihood of resentment, and promotes healthier, more authentic connections. Chapter 9. Handle conflicts gracefully and turn them into opportunities. Conflict is a natural part of human interaction. It is impossible to avoid disagreements, differing opinions, and emotional clashes. What sets individuals apart is how they handle conflict. It's easy to view conflicts as something negative, something to be avoided at all costs. However, the way you handle conflict can turn potentially damaging situations into opportunities for growth, understanding, and connection. The key to turning conflict into opportunity is not merely the absence of confrontation, but rather the approach you take when conflict arises. Viewing conflict through a constructive lens, where you see it as a platform for improvement and deepening relationships, can radically change the way you interact with others. When managed properly, conflicts can encourage creative problem-solving, inspire deeper mutual understanding, and strengthen bonds between individuals. To begin, one of the most crucial aspects of handling conflict gracefully is to remain calm and composed. It is easy to be swept away by emotions in the heat of the moment. When you feel threatened, disrespected, or misunderstood, it's tempting to react impulsively, whether that means raising your voice, becoming defensive, or withdrawing altogether. But reactions driven by emotions rarely lead to positive outcomes. They often escalate the situation and make it harder to reach a resolution. Instead of responding with emotion, take a step back. Breathe. Give yourself a moment to process the situation before speaking or acting. When you allow yourself this space, you gain the clarity needed to assess the conflict objectively and decide the best course of action. This calm approach ensures that you don't say something in the heat of the moment that you might regret later. Another key aspect of handling conflicts is adopting a solution-focused mindset. Many people approach conflict with a focus on the problem, which can lead to blame and frustration. The focus should instead be on finding a resolution. Ask yourself, what can we do to solve this issue? What steps can we take to move forward? When you direct your energy toward finding a solution, you begin to shift from a mindset of defeat and frustration to one of progress and possibility. Every conflict, no matter how intense, holds the potential for change and improvement. When you keep your mind focused on the solution, you will be more likely to find creative and constructive ways to resolve the issue. Listening is an essential part of conflict resolution. Many people believe that in order to win a conflict, they must be the loudest, the most persistent, or the most convincing. However, truly listening to the other party is one of the most powerful tools in resolving conflict. People often simply want to be heard and understood, and by actively listening to their perspective, you create an environment of respect and empathy. When you listen without interrupting or preparing your rebuttal, you gain insights into the other person's feelings, needs, and motivations. This makes it easier to find common ground and reach a solution that benefits both parties. Listening doesn't mean agreeing with everything the other person says. It means giving them the space to express their thoughts and emotions, which fosters trust and mutual respect. When you approach a conflict, it's also important to practice empathy. Try to understand the situation from the other person's perspective. What are they feeling? What might their motivations be? What are their needs? Often conflicts arise because people feel misunderstood or disconnected from one another. By putting yourself in the other person's shoes, you open the door to understanding their point of view, and this understanding is the first step toward finding common ground. Empathy doesn't mean that you have to agree with the other person's position, but it does help you to communicate in a way that is respectful and compassionate. When both parties feel heard and validated, the tension of the conflict begins to dissipate, and the potential for resolution grows. Another critical component of handling conflicts with grace is taking responsibility for your part in the issue. In many situations, it's easy to point the finger at others and blame them for the conflict, but often there is some level of responsibility that each person shares. Acknowledging your role in the situation shows maturity, self-awareness, and accountability. This approach not only helps you to avoid defensive reactions, but it also sets the tone for others to take responsibility for their actions as well. When both parties accept responsibility for their contributions to the conflict, it becomes easier to address the root causes and move forward in a constructive manner. Effective communication is key in resolving conflicts. When emotions run high, it's easy to become frustrated and lose track of the message you want to convey. However, clear, direct communication is essential in ensuring that your thoughts and feelings are understood. Avoid passive-aggressive language or communication that is intentionally vague. Be assertive in expressing your needs and desires without being overly confrontational. Use I statements to take ownership of your emotions and focus on how the situation makes you feel rather than criticizing or blaming the other person. For example, instead of saying, "You never listen to me," say, "I feel unheard when I'm not given your full attention." This simple shift allows you to communicate your emotions without sounding accusatory, which can prevent the other person from becoming defensive and help the conversation stay productive. Flexibility and compromise are also essential components of conflict resolution. While you may have strong opinions or feelings about the issue at hand, it's important to remain open to other solutions and perspectives. A willingness to negotiate and meet the other person halfway can go a long way in resolving conflict. It shows that you are invested in the relationship and the resolution of the issue, rather than in winning the argument. Flexibility also helps you adapt to changing circumstances and find solutions that are mutually beneficial, fostering a sense of collaboration rather than competition. One of the most important aspects of conflict resolution is recognizing that not all conflicts will be resolved immediately. Sometimes it takes time to work through an issue, and it's okay to take a break from the discussion and return to it later. Pressuring yourself or the other person to reach a conclusion too quickly can lead to unresolved feelings and frustration. Sometimes, taking a step back and allowing both parties to reflect can lead to more productive discussions down the road. The ability to take a break when necessary without abandoning the issue is a powerful tool for conflict resolution. In addition, approaching conflict with a mindset of personal growth can turn challenges into opportunities. Conflicts often reveal deeper insights into your own beliefs, values, and emotional triggers. By reflecting on the conflict after it has been resolved, you can learn more about yourself and how you respond to stress and tension. This self-awareness is invaluable for personal development and helps you improve how you handle similar situations in the future. Conflict in this sense becomes not only a chance to resolve issues with others, but also an opportunity for internal growth and self-improvement. Lastly, always remember that conflicts, when handled well, strengthen relationships. They provide an opportunity for both parties to express their needs, clarify misunderstandings, and establish new boundaries. A well-resolved conflict can increase trust, deepen intimacy, and create a stronger sense of connection between individuals. When conflicts are approached with empathy, respect, and a focus on finding solutions, they become an essential part of the relationship-building process rather than something to fear or avoid. The beauty of conflict lies in its ability to bring two people closer together when approached with grace and a willingness to grow. Turning conflict into an opportunity requires a shift in mindset. It's about moving from a stance of defensiveness or aggression to one of cooperation and problem-solving. By embracing conflict with the goal of growth, both personally and relationally, you transform it from a challenge into a stepping stone on the path to stronger, more resilient connections. Chapter 10. Influence others positively by leading with emotional intelligence. Influencing others positively is an art, one that requires a deep understanding of human emotions, behaviors, and motivations. It's not about manipulation or coercion. It's about leadership grounded in emotional intelligence, connecting with people on a deeper, more human level, and inspiring them to act in ways that benefit themselves, those around them, and the broader community. The foundation of such influence lies in the ability to understand emotions, both your own and those of others, and to manage them effectively to create an environment of trust, respect, and collaboration. At its core, emotional intelligence (EI) is about being aware of emotions, using this awareness to guide thinking and behavior, and managing emotions effectively in both oneself and in relationships. Leaders who possess high emotional intelligence are able to recognize and understand the emotional states of others, respond to those emotions thoughtfully, and create an environment where others feel heard, valued, and empowered. They inspire loyalty, trust, and cooperation by fostering an emotional connection with those they lead. To begin, the first key component of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. This is the ability to recognize and understand your own emotions and how they affect your thoughts and behaviors. Self-awareness allows you to understand how your emotional state influences the way you interact with others and make decisions. For instance, when you're feeling stressed or frustrated, it's easy to respond with impatience or irritability, even if you don't intend to. A leader with self-awareness, however, can recognize those emotional shifts and take a step back, ensuring that their emotional state doesn't negatively impact their behavior or decision-making. Self-awareness helps you to lead with authenticity because it allows you to understand your core beliefs, values, and emotions. When others sense that you are true to yourself, they are more likely to trust and follow you. Once you've developed self-awareness, the next step is emotional regulation. This is the ability to control or redirect disruptive emotions and impulses in healthy ways. Emotional regulation is critical for effective leadership, especially in difficult or stressful situations. When emotions run high, it can be tempting to react impulsively, whether by raising your voice, becoming defensive, or shutting down. However, these reactions are rarely productive and often escalate the situation. Leaders who practice emotional regulation know how to pause, breathe, and approach the situation with a level head. They understand that emotional outbursts can damage relationships, undermine trust, and derail progress. By regulating your own emotions, you set an example for others and create an environment where emotions are handled with maturity and respect. Empathy, another cornerstone of emotional intelligence, is perhaps the most important quality when it comes to positively influencing others. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, to step into their shoes and view the world from their perspective. Empathetic leaders are able to connect with others on a deeper level, which helps to build trust, foster cooperation, and promote a sense of belonging. When you understand the emotions and experiences of those you lead, you can respond in a way that acknowledges their feelings, validates their experiences, and provides support. Empathy is not about agreeing with everything others say or do. Rather, it's about showing respect for their emotional state and recognizing that their feelings are valid, even if you don't completely understand or agree with them. For example, if a team member is frustrated with a project, an empathetic leader would listen actively, ask questions to understand the root cause of their frustration, and acknowledge the difficulty of the situation. Instead of immediately offering solutions, the leader might say something like, "I can see this is really tough for you. Let's work together to find a way forward." This kind of response demonstrates that you understand and care about their emotions, which helps to create a supportive environment where people feel safe to express themselves and are motivated to contribute to the team's success. Another important aspect of emotional intelligence in leadership is social skills, or the ability to build and maintain healthy relationships with others. Leaders who possess strong social skills are skilled at communication, collaboration, and conflict resolution. They are able to connect with a wide range of individuals, from team members to clients to senior executives, and adapt their communication style to suit the situation and the individual. They are also adept at resolving conflicts and fostering cooperation among diverse groups of people. Effective leaders know how to navigate difficult conversations with tact and diplomacy, ensuring that all parties feel heard and respected. One of the hallmarks of a leader with strong social skills is their ability to inspire and motivate others. They know how to communicate a vision that resonates with people and sparks their enthusiasm. By demonstrating passion and commitment to a shared goal, they can inspire others to take action and contribute to the mission. Strong social skills also enable leaders to provide constructive feedback, recognize and celebrate achievements, and offer support and encouragement when needed. A leader who can build positive, trusting relationships is much more likely to have a motivated, engaged team that works well together and strives to achieve collective goals. In addition to empathy, social skills, and emotional regulation, one of the most powerful ways to influence others positively is by leading with integrity. Integrity is the quality of being honest, ethical, and consistent in your actions. When you lead with integrity, you set a clear example for others to follow. People are drawn to leaders who walk the talk, those who say what they mean and mean what they say. Integrity is the foundation of trust, and trust is the currency of influence. When others trust you, they are more likely to listen to you, follow your guidance, and work alongside you to achieve shared objectives. Influencing others with emotional intelligence also involves recognizing the value of emotional connections. As human beings, we are deeply motivated by our emotions, and our decisions and actions are often driven by our feelings. Leaders who tap into these emotional drivers, who connect with others on a deep emotional level, are able to inspire powerful loyalty, dedication, and action. By showing genuine care for others, expressing appreciation for their contributions, and acknowledging their needs and aspirations, you create an emotional bond that encourages people to work toward a common goal. People are more likely to be influenced by leaders who make them feel valued and understood. Leadership with emotional intelligence is not about being perfect, it's about being self-aware, practicing empathy, and maintaining a sense of authenticity. It's about listening to others, understanding their emotions, and responding in a way that fosters cooperation and mutual respect. It's about leading with integrity and demonstrating emotional regulation in challenging situations. When you lead with emotional intelligence, you create an environment where people feel safe, supported, and motivated to perform at their best. You build trust and respect, foster collaboration, and inspire others to take action toward shared goals. In conclusion, emotional intelligence is a powerful tool for positively influencing others. Leaders who possess high emotional intelligence are able to connect with people on a deeper level, manage their own emotions effectively, and inspire cooperation, trust, and commitment. By leading with empathy, self-awareness, and integrity, you can influence others in a way that promotes growth, collaboration, and success. Emotional intelligence is not just a leadership skill, it is a life skill that allows you to build meaningful relationships, navigate complex situations, and lead with confidence and compassion. Chapter 11. Improve social awareness to navigate diverse situations with ease. In the intricate web of human interactions, the ability to navigate diverse situations with ease is a vital skill. Whether it's engaging with a team, negotiating with a partner, or simply understanding the dynamic in a social setting, social awareness plays a significant role in how we engage with the world around us. Social awareness isn't just about being able to perceive the emotions or needs of others. It's about understanding the unspoken cues, the cultural and social contexts, and the subtle power dynamics at play. It's the skill that allows us to communicate effectively, manage conflicts smoothly, and create an environment of respect and mutual understanding. Mastering this skill can be the key to thriving in both personal and professional environments. To begin, let's consider the fundamental components of social awareness. At its core, social awareness involves being attuned to the emotions, needs, and perspectives of others. It requires you to pay attention to not only the words spoken, but also the tone, body language, facial expressions, and the unspoken context that surrounds any interaction. A person with high social awareness can walk into a room and immediately sense the mood, detect any underlying tensions, and adjust their approach accordingly. They don't simply respond to the obvious, they read between the lines and understand what's left unsaid. For instance, imagine walking into a meeting where the group is discussing a high-stakes project. If you are socially aware, you would immediately pick up on the body language of the participants, the tense shoulders, the lack of eye contact, or the slightly furrowed brows. These non-verbal cues suggest discomfort or disagreement, even though the words being spoken might not reveal any conflict. In such situations, social awareness helps you decide whether to address the issue directly or to approach it with a bit more sensitivity. By reading the room, you can adjust your tone, your approach, and your words, ensuring that your message lands in a way that is most likely to foster collaboration rather than exacerbate tensions. In addition to emotional cues, cultural awareness is a key part of social awareness. Each culture has its own norms, values, and communication styles, and understanding these can significantly impact how you navigate diverse situations. In today's globalized world, the likelihood of interacting with individuals from various cultural backgrounds is higher than ever. A leader or individual who is socially aware recognizes and respects these differences and doesn't make assumptions based on their own worldview. Instead, they approach others with curiosity, open-mindedness, and a genuine willingness to understand different perspectives. Consider a scenario where you are working with a team of individuals from various cultural backgrounds. Each person brings their unique perspective and way of approaching challenges. Without social awareness, you may unintentionally make someone feel marginalized or misunderstood, especially if you are not attuned to the cultural nuances that shape their behavior. For example, in some cultures, direct confrontation is avoided, while in others, it's considered necessary to address issues head-on. Understanding these differences can help you navigate potential misunderstandings and ensure that communication flows smoothly, even when there are differences in how people express themselves. Equally important is the ability to manage group dynamics and power structures. Social awareness is not only about understanding individual emotions and perspectives, but also about recognizing the dynamics at play within a group. Every group has its own set of unspoken rules, hierarchies, and power balances. These dynamics influence how decisions are made, how people interact with one another, and how influence is exerted within the group. A socially aware person understands these dynamics and uses them to guide their actions. For instance, in a work setting, if you are aware of the unspoken hierarchy within your team, you can approach decision-making more strategically, making sure to involve the key players in the right way. By understanding who holds influence and how information flows within the group, you can build stronger, more collaborative relationships and ensure that everyone's voice is heard. Being socially aware also involves understanding the context of each situation. Every social interaction takes place within a specific context, whether it's a formal setting like a business meeting or an informal setting like a family gathering. Understanding the context allows you to adjust your behavior to fit the situation. For instance, while humor might be appropriate in a casual conversation, it may not be suitable in a serious business discussion. Similarly, a relaxed communication style may be effective with close colleagues, but when dealing with clients or superiors, a more formal approach might be required. Social awareness helps you navigate these different situations with ease, ensuring that your behavior aligns with the expectations of the setting and the people involved. At the same time, developing social awareness means being able to identify and challenge biases, both your own and those of others. We all carry unconscious biases, shaped by our upbringing, experiences, and the society we live in. These biases can impact how we perceive others, how we interpret their behavior, and how we engage with them. A person with high social awareness is mindful of their biases and takes steps to counteract them. This means being aware of how stereotypes or assumptions might influence their interactions and consciously choosing to engage with others on an individual level, without letting preconceived notions cloud their judgment. By doing so, they create a more inclusive and equitable environment where everyone feels seen and heard for who they truly are. Social awareness also involves active listening, a key skill that many overlook when navigating diverse situations. Listening isn't just about hearing words, it's about paying attention to the full message being conveyed. Active listening requires that you focus fully on the speaker, acknowledging their emotions, understanding their needs, and responding thoughtfully. In practice, active listening involves not interrupting, asking clarifying questions, and reflecting back what you've heard to ensure mutual understanding. It also means being mindful of non-verbal cues and context, recognizing when someone might be hesitant to speak or when they need encouragement to open up. Active listening fosters trust, strengthens relationships, and helps you navigate conversations with greater empathy and insight. One of the challenges of social awareness is the ability to balance multiple perspectives in any given situation. In a group setting, people may have different opinions, emotional states, and needs. A socially aware individual can navigate these varying perspectives and find common ground, ensuring that everyone feels respected and valued. This requires emotional intelligence, patience, and a commitment to understanding the viewpoints of others. By acknowledging and addressing these differences with care, you can foster an environment where collaboration thrives, where individuals feel safe to express themselves, and where the group as a whole can make decisions that are in the best interest of everyone involved. As you continue to refine your social awareness, you will notice a shift in how you engage with others. You'll become more attuned to the emotions and needs of the people around you, and you'll be able to adjust your behavior accordingly. You will find that you are better able to navigate difficult conversations, build stronger relationships, and create an environment where people feel comfortable being themselves. Social awareness allows you to move through diverse situations with grace, knowing how to respond to the emotions, behaviors, and needs of others in a way that fosters trust, respect, and collaboration. Moreover, social awareness is essential for leadership. Great leaders don't simply give orders or make decisions in isolation. They understand the emotional and social context in which their decisions will be implemented. They listen actively to their team members, recognize the unique strengths and challenges of each individual, and respond in a way that motivates and empowers. A leader with high social awareness can identify and address potential conflicts before they escalate, build relationships across diverse groups, and create an environment where everyone feels included and valued. By developing social awareness, you not only improve your ability to lead effectively, but also foster an environment where collaboration, innovation, and mutual respect can flourish. In summary, social awareness is an indispensable skill for navigating diverse situations with ease. It requires a deep understanding of emotions, cultures, group dynamics, and the context of each situation. By developing this skill, you become better equipped to engage with others in a way that fosters respect, collaboration, and empathy. You become someone who can read between the lines, understand what's left unsaid, and adjust your approach to fit the unique needs of each situation. Social awareness is not just about observing others, it's about being fully present, actively listening, and responding in a way that creates connection and understanding. As you master this skill, you will find that you can navigate any situation, no matter how complex or diverse, with confidence and ease. Chapter 12. Strengthen social confidence by engaging authentically in all settings. Social confidence is more than just standing tall or speaking clearly in a room full of people. It's an internal sense of self-assurance that allows you to engage authentically in any setting, regardless of how new, unfamiliar, or intimidating it might be. Social confidence isn't something you're simply born with. It's a skill, a mindset, and a practice that can be developed over time. At its core, social confidence comes from a deep sense of self-belief and self-acceptance, the understanding that you have something valuable to contribute in any interaction. When you engage authentically, you show the world who you truly are, unapologetically, and invite others to connect with the real you. To strengthen social confidence, you must first focus on embracing your true self. So often, people wear masks in social settings, trying to be someone they are not in order to fit in or be accepted. This can lead to anxiety, discomfort, and disconnection. But authentic engagement happens when you let go of the need for approval and embrace the reality that you are enough just as you are. The foundation of social confidence is self-acceptance, the ability to stand in your truth without fear of judgment. When you accept and love yourself, you radiate a sense of confidence that is magnetic to others. Engaging authentically starts with a shift in perspective. Instead of worrying about how you come across, focus on how you can truly connect with the people around you. The shift from self-consciousness to other consciousness is transformative. When you let go of the fear of being judged and focus on how to serve, listen, and contribute, you instantly become more confident. Authentic engagement comes from a place of curiosity and empathy, not from a place of needing to prove yourself. Instead of thinking, "What will they think of me?" shift your focus to, "How can I engage with them in a way that creates a genuine connection?" One way to build social confidence is by practicing vulnerability. Vulnerability may seem counterintuitive when trying to gain confidence, but it is one of the most powerful tools for authentic engagement. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you invite others to see the real you, the messy, imperfect, and beautiful version of yourself. This openness creates an environment of trust and authenticity, both of which are essential for forming meaningful connections. Being vulnerable doesn't mean sharing every detail of your life with everyone, but it does mean being honest about who you are, where you come from, and what you believe. It's about showing that you don't need to be perfect to be worthy of connection. Another key to building social confidence is the ability to listen actively. Often we become so focused on what we are going to say next that we forget to truly listen to others. Active listening is the art of being fully present in the conversation, not just hearing words but understanding the emotions and thoughts behind them. This practice deepens your connection with others and allows you to engage more genuinely. When you actively listen, you show others that you value their thoughts, feelings, and experiences. This makes them feel seen, heard, and appreciated, which in turn enhances your social confidence. When you stop worrying about how you're coming across and instead focus on engaging in a meaningful way, your confidence will naturally grow. At the heart of social confidence is the ability to be comfortable with silence. Many people rush to fill every moment of silence with words because they feel uncomfortable. However, allowing for pauses in conversation can be a powerful tool. Silence gives both you and the other person time to reflect, think, and process. It also creates space for more meaningful dialogue. Being comfortable in silence means you trust yourself to hold the space, knowing that you don't need to fill it with anything. It also allows others to express themselves fully without interruption, further strengthening your connection with them. Another critical component of social confidence is body language. Your body speaks before your words do. The way you stand, walk, and carry yourself sends a clear message to others about your confidence. If your posture is closed off, or you avoid eye contact, you may come across as unsure or unapproachable. However, if you stand tall, maintain good posture, and make eye contact, you communicate openness and self-assurance. This can instantly change how people perceive you. Body language is also about how you use space. By occupying space confidently, without shrinking back or taking up too much room, you send a signal that you belong in any setting. The more you practice positive body language, the more naturally confident you will appear to others, and the more your inner confidence will grow. It's also essential to let go of the fear of rejection or failure. Many people avoid engaging authentically because they fear being rejected or judged. However, rejection is a natural part of life, and it's an opportunity for growth rather than something to be feared. The more you practice engaging with others, the more you realize that rejection isn't the end of the world, it's simply a part of the journey. The more you expose yourself to social situations, the more comfortable you become. Confidence builds over time as you face challenges, overcome self-doubt, and prove to yourself that you are capable of navigating any situation. Every interaction, even if it doesn't go as planned, is an opportunity to learn and improve your social confidence. Part of building social confidence is taking the initiative to step outside your comfort zone. Social confidence grows when you engage in situations that initially feel intimidating. The first time you introduce yourself to someone new or join a conversation in a group can be nerve-wracking, but the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. By taking the initiative, you prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort and uncertainty. Over time, this will strengthen your social confidence and make it easier to engage with anyone, anywhere. Confidence also thrives in the face of criticism. Handling feedback with grace and resilience is a powerful way to demonstrate your social confidence. Instead of getting defensive or withdrawing, use criticism as an opportunity for growth. When you handle feedback with humility and a willingness to improve, you show others that you are comfortable in your own skin and are always striving to become a better version of yourself. This open-mindedness not only strengthens your confidence, but also invites others to engage with you in an authentic way. Equally important is the ability to express yourself clearly and confidently. When you speak with clarity, people are more likely to listen, and you're able to convey your thoughts and ideas more effectively. This doesn't mean being overly formal or stiff. It simply means being intentional with your words and confident in your ability to communicate your thoughts. Speak from a place of truth, knowing that your ideas and opinions are valuable. When you engage in conversations with the understanding that your perspective matters, your confidence grows and your interactions become more meaningful. To strengthen social confidence, you also need to surround yourself with positive influences. Engage with people who encourage you to be your authentic self, who support your growth, and who challenge you to become a better version of yourself. Positive relationships build your confidence and create a nurturing environment where you feel safe to express yourself. When you feel supported and uplifted by others, you are more likely to engage confidently and authentically in all settings. Finally, remember that social confidence is not about being perfect. It's about being real. It's about embracing the full spectrum of your humanity, the good, the bad and the messy, and sharing it with others. Confidence isn't about never feeling nervous or uncomfortable. It's about acknowledging those feelings and continuing to show up anyway. True confidence is grounded in authenticity, vulnerability, and the willingness to be fully present in every interaction. The more you practice engaging authentically, the more your social confidence will grow, and you'll find that you can engage with ease in any setting, at any time. As you continue to practice and refine these strategies, you will find that your social confidence expands naturally. With each interaction, you will become more comfortable with who you are, more at ease in diverse situations, and more confident in your ability to create authentic, meaningful connections. Social confidence isn't something you achieve once and for all. It's a continual practice that deepens over time. The more you invest in being present, authentic and connected, the more naturally confident you will become in all of your social interactions. Chapter 13. Master feedback to grow yourself and others effectively. Feedback is a powerful tool for growth, yet it is often misunderstood or mishandled, both in giving and receiving it. Mastering the art of feedback can significantly accelerate personal development, improve relationships, and foster an environment where growth is not only encouraged but expected. Whether in the workplace, in personal life, or in creative endeavors, feedback offers a unique opportunity to see ourselves from a different perspective and make adjustments that push us closer to our potential. The real challenge lies in how we receive and give feedback and how we leverage it to become the best versions of ourselves. Mastering feedback begins with understanding that feedback, whether positive or negative, is not a personal attack, but a chance to learn and evolve. The first step in mastering feedback is to shift your perspective. Too often, people see feedback as criticism, a judgment of their worth or capability. This mindset can trigger defensive reactions, leading to resistance and missed opportunities for improvement. The key to transforming feedback into a tool for growth is to see it as a neutral, informative resource designed to help you improve. When you adopt this perspective, you free yourself from the emotional charge often associated with feedback, allowing you to receive it with an open mind and use it constructively. The next step in mastering feedback is learning how to actively listen. Active listening is not just hearing the words, but fully understanding the message being communicated. When you receive feedback, listen intently without interrupting and avoid getting defensive or making excuses. Take the time to fully absorb what is being said before responding. This shows respect for the person giving the feedback and creates an environment of trust and collaboration. It also gives you the opportunity to process the feedback and determine how you can apply it effectively. If you're unsure about the feedback, ask clarifying questions. This demonstrates your willingness to learn and improve. A crucial component of mastering feedback is creating a culture where feedback is exchanged freely and regularly. Feedback should not be reserved for performance reviews or critical moments, but should be an ongoing conversation. When feedback becomes a normal part of daily interactions, it loses its intimidating edge. In a healthy, feedback-rich environment, individuals feel supported and empowered to give and receive feedback without fear. This open exchange fosters continuous improvement and helps everyone stay aligned with shared goals. For leaders and managers, this means creating a space where team members feel comfortable offering feedback to one another and are encouraged to do so regularly. When feedback is part of the culture, it becomes a tool for growth rather than a moment of judgment. Feedback is most effective when it is specific and actionable. General feedback like "do better" or "you need to improve" is not helpful because it lacks clarity. Instead, feedback should focus on specific behaviors or actions and provide guidance on how to improve. For instance, instead of saying, "Your presentation wasn't good," offer specific feedback like, "Your slides were difficult to read and your pacing was too fast. Try slowing down and making the text larger on your slides next time." Specific feedback makes it easier for the person receiving it to understand exactly what needs to be changed and how they can do so. One of the most powerful ways to master feedback is to develop a growth mindset. A growth mindset, popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck, is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. With a growth mindset, you view feedback as a stepping stone to becoming better rather than as a personal reflection of your abilities. This mindset makes it easier to accept criticism without taking it personally, as you understand that it is part of the process of growth. People with a growth mindset are more likely to seek out feedback, view challenges as opportunities to improve, and bounce back from setbacks with renewed determination. While it is essential to know how to receive feedback, it is equally important to know how to give it effectively. Giving feedback is an art that requires empathy, clarity, and tact. When giving feedback, focus on the behavior, not the person. Instead of saying, "You are disorganized," say, "I noticed that some of the tasks were not completed by the deadline, which impacted the overall project. Let's come up with a plan to stay on track next time." By focusing on the behavior and offering a solution, you avoid making the other person feel like they are being personally criticized. Constructive feedback should always be framed in a way that encourages growth and improvement, not in a way that causes shame or discouragement. Timing is also crucial when giving feedback. Providing feedback too early or too late can reduce its effectiveness. Ideally, feedback should be given as soon as possible after the action or behavior you are addressing has occurred. The closer the feedback is to the event, the more relevant and actionable it becomes. Giving feedback in real time allows the individual to immediately adjust their approach and apply the lessons learned. However, it's important to ensure that the person is in a receptive state when feedback is offered. If emotions are running high, it's better to wait until a more appropriate moment to discuss the feedback. Ensuring the feedback is given when the person is calm and open will make it more likely to be received positively and lead to lasting change. When you are in the role of giving feedback, it is vital to balance positive and constructive comments. Positive feedback acknowledges the strengths and efforts of the person, reinforcing the behaviors you want to see more of. Constructive feedback, on the other hand, helps identify areas for improvement. Both types of feedback are essential for growth. People need to know what they are doing well so they can continue to build on those strengths, while also understanding what areas need work to help them develop further. A balanced approach to feedback makes the person feel valued and encourages them to continue striving for improvement. Mastering feedback also involves managing your emotions. When receiving feedback, it's easy to become defensive or upset, especially if the feedback is negative or hard to hear. However, allowing your emotions to take over can prevent you from learning and growing. Instead, practice emotional regulation by taking a deep breath, pausing before responding, and reminding yourself that feedback is about your actions, not your character. When giving feedback, it's essential to remain calm and composed even if the person receiving the feedback is upset. By managing your emotions, you create a safe environment where the focus remains on the content of the feedback and the opportunity for growth. Another aspect of mastering feedback is self-reflection. After receiving feedback, take time to reflect on it. Ask yourself how you can apply the suggestions and how you can use this opportunity to grow. Self-reflection is a critical step in the feedback process because it helps you internalize the lessons and integrate them into your behavior. It also gives you the chance to identify any patterns in the feedback you receive and make proactive changes. Similarly, after giving feedback, reflect on how you delivered it and whether it was received as intended. Self-reflection helps you fine-tune your approach and become more effective in both receiving and giving feedback in the future. It's important to remember that feedback is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. Growth is continuous, and feedback should be integrated into a regular cycle of learning and improvement. Instead of viewing feedback as a rare occurrence tied to a performance review or a major project, treat it as part of your ongoing development. The more feedback you receive, the more opportunities you have to adjust your approach, refine your skills, and achieve your goals. Similarly, the more feedback you give, the more you help others reach their potential. Mastering feedback is not only about improving yourself, but also about empowering those around you. When you create an environment where feedback is welcomed, valued, and acted upon, you contribute to the growth of others. Providing thoughtful and constructive feedback allows people to learn from their mistakes, build on their strengths, and reach new levels of success. As you master feedback, you will see how it transforms not only your personal development, but also the development of those you interact with. In turn, this creates a culture of continuous growth, mutual respect, and collaborative improvement. Mastering feedback ultimately means becoming someone who actively seeks out opportunities for growth, embraces learning, and uses feedback as a tool to propel forward. It is about understanding that feedback is a gift, whether it comes in the form of praise or constructive criticism. When you learn to navigate feedback effectively, you can elevate your performance, strengthen your relationships, and create a life that is continually evolving toward greater success and fulfillment. Chapter 14. Build emotional intelligence in the workplace for career success. Emotional intelligence, EI, is often seen as a soft skill, but it is one of the most critical factors in determining success in the workplace. In fact, research consistently shows that emotional intelligence can be more important than technical skills and IQ when it comes to career advancement and overall professional success. Understanding and building emotional intelligence enables individuals to navigate complex workplace dynamics, manage relationships more effectively, and respond to challenges with greater resilience. For anyone looking to advance their career or improve their work environment, mastering emotional intelligence is an essential step. At its core, emotional intelligence involves the ability to recognize, understand, and manage one's own emotions, as well as the emotions of others. This includes a wide range of competencies, including self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. In the workplace, these abilities allow individuals to work more effectively with colleagues, communicate more persuasively, resolve conflicts more easily, and create a positive, productive work culture. Self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. It involves having a clear understanding of your emotions, strengths, weaknesses, and how your feelings influence your thoughts and behaviors. Self-awareness allows you to recognize when you're feeling frustrated, overwhelmed, or disengaged, and gives you the insight to adjust your behavior before it negatively impacts your performance. The more aware you are of your emotions, the better equipped you'll be to handle stress, stay calm in difficult situations, and avoid rash decisions. It also helps you build trust with others, as they can sense when you're in tune with yourself and can be counted on to act with integrity. In the workplace, self-awareness enables you to respond more thoughtfully to situations rather than reacting impulsively. For example, if you're given critical feedback during a meeting, your ability to be self-aware allows you to recognize any feelings of defensiveness or embarrassment and to respond calmly and professionally, instead of reacting with anger or frustration. This self-control in the face of challenges is an important aspect of building emotional intelligence. Self-regulation is the next component of emotional intelligence. It involves managing your emotions in a healthy way, especially in difficult or high-stress situations. While it's natural to feel angry, upset, or anxious at work, how you manage those emotions determines your ability to succeed. Those with high emotional intelligence understand how to pause and reflect before reacting, allowing them to maintain their professionalism and composure. This ability to regulate emotions also helps prevent impulsive behavior, such as sending an angry email or making hasty decisions under pressure. Instead, people with high emotional intelligence take the time to consider the long-term impact of their actions and respond in a way that aligns with their goals and values. Self-regulation also plays a vital role in motivation. People with high emotional intelligence are often intrinsically motivated, meaning they find satisfaction and purpose in their work beyond just external rewards, like pay raises or promotions. This internal drive helps them stay focused and committed, even when faced with setbacks or obstacles. They are more likely to set long-term goals, work diligently toward those goals, and remain resilient in the face of challenges. This perseverance and resilience are highly valued in the workplace, especially in fast-paced or high-pressure environments. Empathy is another essential component of emotional intelligence, and it plays a significant role in building strong relationships in the workplace. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, to see things from their perspective, and to respond with compassion and care. In the workplace, empathy allows you to build rapport with colleagues, clients, and superiors, fostering a culture of trust and mutual respect. Empathy also helps you navigate difficult conversations, such as giving feedback, addressing performance issues, or resolving conflicts. When you're able to see things from the other person's point of view, you can approach these conversations with greater sensitivity and understanding. Instead of simply focusing on the facts or your own perspective, you consider how the other person feels and what their needs are. This makes it more likely that you'll find a solution that works for everyone involved, reducing the chances of miscommunication or resentment. One of the key ways empathy can benefit you in the workplace is by improving your ability to work in teams. In any workplace, collaboration is crucial, and the best teams are those where individuals understand and respect each other's perspectives. Empathy helps you connect with your colleagues on a deeper level, fostering a sense of unity and shared purpose. When everyone feels heard and valued, they are more likely to contribute their best ideas and work together toward common goals. Along with empathy, strong social skills are critical for building emotional intelligence and achieving career success. Social skills include effective communication, conflict resolution, and the ability to work well with others. People with strong social skills know how to interact with a variety of people, from colleagues to clients to superiors, and they know how to build positive relationships in diverse work environments. Effective communication is at the heart of strong social skills. It's not just about speaking clearly or articulating your ideas, but also about listening actively and responding thoughtfully. In the workplace, good communication means being able to share your ideas in a way that others can understand, and being able to listen attentively to others' ideas without jumping to conclusions or interrupting. It also means being aware of non-verbal cues, such as body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions, and using these cues to gauge the emotional state of others. Conflict resolution is another key social skill that relies heavily on emotional intelligence. Conflicts are inevitable in any workplace, but how you handle them can make a significant difference in the outcome. Those with high emotional intelligence are more adept at de-escalating conflicts, finding common ground, and resolving disagreements in a way that preserves relationships and promotes collaboration. They understand that conflicts are not personal attacks, but opportunities to understand different viewpoints and find mutually beneficial solutions. Rather than avoiding conflict or letting it escalate, emotionally intelligent individuals address it head-on with calmness, patience, and respect. Building emotional intelligence in the workplace can lead to a range of benefits, both for individuals and for the organization as a whole. When employees at all levels have high emotional intelligence, the workplace becomes more collaborative, supportive, and productive. Teams are better able to work together, communication improves, and conflicts are resolved more quickly and effectively. Leaders who possess emotional intelligence are better able to inspire and motivate their teams, creating a positive work culture where employees feel valued and respected. This in turn leads to higher employee engagement, job satisfaction, and retention. For individuals looking to build emotional intelligence in the workplace, there are several practical strategies to consider. First, commit to continuous self-reflection. Take time to regularly assess your emotional responses and how they affect your behavior. Journaling can be a helpful tool for processing your thoughts and emotions, helping you gain greater self-awareness. Another key strategy is to seek out feedback from others. Ask colleagues and supervisors for input on how you can improve your emotional intelligence and your interactions with others. Be open to constructive criticism and use it as an opportunity to grow. Another effective strategy is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you become more aware of your thoughts, emotions, and reactions in real time, allowing you to respond more thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. Simple practices like deep breathing, meditation, or taking short breaks throughout the day can help you stay grounded and focused, particularly during stressful situations. Mindfulness also enhances your ability to be present in conversations, improving your listening skills and your capacity for empathy. Finally, investing in developing strong relationships with colleagues is an essential part of building emotional intelligence. Take the time to connect with others on a personal level, listen to their concerns, and offer support when needed. By building genuine relationships, you foster an environment of trust and collaboration which benefits everyone involved. In conclusion, emotional intelligence is a vital skill for career success, especially in the modern workplace, where collaboration, communication, and adaptability are crucial. Building emotional intelligence allows you to manage your own emotions, understand and empathize with others, and navigate complex social dynamics with ease. By continuously developing your emotional intelligence, you not only enhance your own career prospects, but also contribute to creating a positive and productive work environment for those around you. Emotional intelligence is not a one-time achievement, but a lifelong journey, and the more you invest in it, the more you will reap the rewards, personally, professionally, and in your relationships. Chapter 15. Foster meaningful relationships by practicing vulnerability and authenticity. Building meaningful relationships requires a level of openness and vulnerability that many people find difficult to practice. Yet, it is precisely this openness that allows us to connect with others on a deeper, more genuine level. When we show up in our relationships as authentic, vulnerable individuals, we not only create bonds that are more enduring, but also invite others to be themselves. Vulnerability, while often seen as a weakness, is actually one of the greatest strengths we can possess. It allows us to embrace our imperfections, share our struggles, and truly connect with others in ways that are profoundly impactful. In any relationship, whether with friends, family, or colleagues, authenticity and vulnerability are the keys to establishing trust, understanding, and mutual respect. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we let go of the need for perfection or for maintaining a facade. We begin to show others who we really are, rather than what we think they want to see. This process of being real, of sharing our fears, insecurities, and desires, allows others to see us not as a person trying to impress or control, but as someone who is simply seeking connection. One of the first steps in practicing vulnerability and authenticity is to understand the difference between vulnerability and weakness. Many people shy away from being vulnerable because they fear being judged, rejected, or seen as weak. They worry that opening up will expose their flaws or make them look unworthy of love or respect. However, vulnerability is not about showing weakness. It's about showing strength in the face of fear. It takes courage to be open, to share our true selves, and to expose our hearts. Vulnerability is not about oversharing or being emotionally reckless. It's about being willing to take the risk of being seen for who we truly are. When we embrace vulnerability, we give others permission to do the same. We create an environment in which people feel safe to open up, share their thoughts and feelings, and be themselves without fear of judgment. This is what forms the foundation of meaningful relationships. Authenticity, in particular, allows us to step away from the need to conform or perform for others and simply be true to ourselves. It involves embracing our individuality, understanding that we do not need to fit a certain mold or meet a particular standard to be valued and accepted. Authenticity in relationships is essential because it fosters trust. When we are authentic, we communicate in ways that are direct and transparent. We don't hide our true intentions or emotions behind false facades. Instead, we express ourselves clearly and openly, inviting others to do the same. This honesty creates a foundation of trust, as people know that when we speak, we are speaking from the heart. They know that we are not just saying what they want to hear, but what we genuinely believe to be true. Authenticity is also a catalyst for deeper understanding. When we share our real selves, we give others the opportunity to understand us on a much deeper level. We allow them to see our thoughts, our vulnerabilities, our aspirations, and our fears. This depth of connection allows others to see us not just as a surface-level acquaintance, but as a complex, multifaceted individual. They begin to understand our motivations, our values, and the experiences that have shaped us into who we are today. By practicing vulnerability, we also begin to cultivate empathy within our relationships. Empathy allows us to connect with others' emotions and experiences, creating a space for understanding and compassion. When we share our vulnerabilities, we invite others to share theirs. This mutual exchange creates a powerful bond, as both individuals feel seen, heard, and understood. As a result, relationships built on vulnerability and authenticity tend to be much more resilient. They are not based on superficial connections, but on a genuine shared understanding of each other's humanity. At its core, vulnerability is a form of self-acceptance. When we are vulnerable, we acknowledge that we are not perfect, that we have our flaws, and that we do not have all the answers. This humility allows us to accept ourselves for who we are, rather than constantly striving to be something we are not. Self-acceptance is the foundation of all authentic relationships, because it enables us to show up fully and honestly in every interaction. When we accept ourselves, we are not afraid to share our true feelings, thoughts, and desires with others. This acceptance also extends to others, allowing us to appreciate and embrace their imperfections as well. It's important to note that vulnerability and authenticity don't always mean sharing everything with everyone. Being vulnerable doesn't require oversharing personal information or exposing every detail of our inner world. Instead, it's about choosing to be real with others in a way that feels comfortable and appropriate for the context. There are times when it's important to share our feelings, thoughts, and concerns with others, and there are times when it's appropriate to keep certain things to ourselves. The key is to be mindful of our boundaries and to share in a way that feels aligned with our values and intentions. Another essential aspect of practicing vulnerability is learning to embrace discomfort. Being vulnerable can be uncomfortable, especially when we fear rejection or judgment. However, it is precisely in these moments of discomfort that we have the greatest opportunity for growth and connection. When we push ourselves to be vulnerable in the face of fear, we step outside of our comfort zone and experience the transformative power of genuine connection. While it may feel uncomfortable at first, vulnerability allows us to build deeper, more meaningful relationships and to create a sense of belonging with others. Vulnerability also plays a significant role in resolving conflict and building resilience in relationships. In any long-term relationship, there will inevitably be moments of disagreement or tension. These moments, while challenging, offer an opportunity to practice vulnerability and authenticity. Instead of allowing conflict to create distance or animosity, we can use it as a chance to share our true feelings, to express our needs, and to listen with empathy. By being vulnerable in our communication, we foster an environment of openness and collaboration, where both parties feel safe to express themselves without fear of being misunderstood or dismissed. The ability to practice vulnerability and authenticity is essential for building meaningful relationships, but it's also crucial for maintaining mental and emotional well-being. When we hide our true selves or suppress our emotions, we create internal tension that can lead to stress, anxiety, and burnout. Authenticity allows us to release the pressure of pretending to be someone we're not, creating a sense of peace and alignment. When we embrace vulnerability, we release the need to be perfect or to meet external expectations, which can be incredibly freeing. In the workplace, fostering vulnerability and authenticity is equally important. As leaders, managers, or team members, the ability to create an environment of openness and trust can have a profound impact on team dynamics, productivity, and collaboration. Leaders who embrace vulnerability demonstrate that it's okay to make mistakes, to ask for help, and to acknowledge areas of growth. This fosters a culture where others feel comfortable taking risks, sharing ideas, and learning from each other. In such an environment, people are more likely to feel engaged, supported, and valued, which leads to increased job satisfaction and overall performance. Ultimately, the practice of vulnerability and authenticity transforms the way we interact with others and the way we view ourselves. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we give others the opportunity to see our humanity and to respond with compassion, understanding, and love. By practicing authenticity, we release the need for approval and embrace the freedom of being fully ourselves. These practices not only enhance our relationships, but also foster a deeper sense of fulfillment and connection in all aspects of life. Whether in personal relationships or professional settings, vulnerability and authenticity serve as the foundation for meaningful, lasting connections that enrich our lives in profound ways. Chapter 16. Learn to give and receive love with emotional intelligence. Love, in its deepest and most meaningful form, is not just a feeling. It is an intricate exchange that involves both giving and receiving. It is an essential part of the human experience, connecting us to others in ways that words alone cannot explain. Love fosters joy, emotional fulfillment, and mutual growth, yet it is a delicate balance of vulnerability, trust, and understanding. At its core, learning to give and receive love with emotional intelligence means developing the ability to not only express love in ways that are meaningful, but also to be open to receiving it fully, without judgment or hesitation. This dynamic relationship is the key to building lasting, authentic connections that enrich our lives. The process of giving and receiving love is deeply interconnected with emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, EI, involves recognizing, understanding, and managing our own emotions, while also being able to recognize and influence the emotions of others. It enables us to approach relationships with empathy, patience, and respect, qualities that are essential for nurturing love in a healthy, fulfilling way. In the context of love, emotional intelligence becomes the driving force that shapes how we express our feelings, respond to others, and manage the inevitable complexities that come with deep emotional connections. When we think of love, we often focus on the act of giving it. This may be through words of affirmation, acts of service, physical touch, or simply being present with someone. However, the act of giving love with emotional intelligence requires us to be attuned to the needs and emotional states of others. Emotional intelligence in giving love means recognizing when someone needs support, when they need space, and when they need affirmation or comfort. It involves being present with others, understanding the subtleties of their emotions, and responding in a way that makes them feel seen and valued. This form of love is rooted in self-awareness, empathy, and the ability to manage our own emotions in a way that allows us to offer love freely, without expectations or resentment. Being able to give love in a way that resonates with others means that we are no longer focused on how we want to express our love, but on how the other person needs to receive it. This requires an understanding of the individual preferences, desires, and emotional triggers of the people we care about. Some people may feel loved through physical touch, while others may feel more connected through words of affirmation or acts of service. Emotional intelligence enables us to move beyond our own desires for how we want to love, and instead attune ourselves to the needs of those around us. It involves listening with empathy, observing emotional cues, and responding in a way that is both nurturing and affirming. However, the other side of the equation is just as important: receiving love. Many people find it challenging to receive love, often because they feel unworthy or uncomfortable with vulnerability. Receiving love with emotional intelligence means recognizing the love being offered, accepting it without hesitation, and allowing ourselves to experience the emotional connection that comes with it. Often, we hold ourselves back from fully embracing love because of past hurts, fears of rejection, or a sense of inadequacy. We may dismiss compliments, push people away, or deflect affection because we feel unworthy of receiving it. To receive love with emotional intelligence requires a shift in mindset. It involves recognizing that love is not a commodity to be earned or a reflection of our worth, but a gift that enhances our lives and the lives of those around us. When we open ourselves to receiving love, we acknowledge our own value and allow ourselves to be vulnerable with others. This vulnerability enables us to connect deeply with others, building a foundation of trust and mutual respect. By accepting love without self-criticism or hesitation, we allow ourselves to experience the full emotional richness that love offers. Emotional intelligence plays a critical role in overcoming the barriers to receiving love. When we have high emotional intelligence, we can manage our own insecurities and self-doubt, allowing us to be open to the love others offer. We can recognize when we are closing ourselves off to love due to fear or past trauma, and we can take conscious steps to move past those barriers. This awareness helps us not only to receive love, but to do so in a way that feels genuine and natural. Furthermore, receiving love with emotional intelligence involves the ability to express gratitude and appreciation. Often, when love is offered, it is not just the act itself that matters, but the acknowledgement of the gesture. When we express genuine gratitude for the love we receive, it strengthens the bond between us and the giver. Gratitude serves as a form of recognition that the love being offered is seen, valued, and appreciated. This simple yet powerful act reinforces the emotional connection and encourages a deeper level of intimacy and trust. In relationships, both giving and receiving love are equally important. If one person is constantly giving love without receiving it in return, resentment can begin to build. Conversely, if one person is only focused on receiving love without offering it in return, the relationship can feel imbalanced and unfulfilling. Emotional intelligence helps us strike this balance by encouraging us to recognize when we are out of sync in our emotional exchanges. It helps us take a step back and evaluate whether we are giving enough or whether we are open enough to receiving love. By being mindful of these dynamics, we can cultivate more harmonious and healthy relationships that are built on mutual respect, appreciation, and emotional understanding. One of the greatest challenges in giving and receiving love lies in the vulnerability it demands. Love, in its truest form, requires us to be open and honest about our emotions, to share our deepest fears and desires, and to trust others with our hearts. This vulnerability can be daunting, especially if we have experienced pain or betrayal in the past. However, emotional intelligence helps us navigate this vulnerability with resilience and grace. It enables us to assess the emotional safety of a relationship and determine when it is appropriate to open ourselves up to love. Emotional intelligence also equips us with the tools to manage conflict within relationships. Even in the most loving partnerships, disagreements and misunderstandings are inevitable. When we have emotional intelligence, we are better able to approach conflict with patience, empathy, and a willingness to listen. We can express our feelings in a way that is respectful and considerate of the other person's emotions, and we can listen with an open heart and mind. This approach not only resolves conflicts, but also strengthens the bond between individuals, as both parties feel heard, understood, and respected. Furthermore, learning to give and receive love with emotional intelligence helps us develop stronger connections with ourselves. When we are able to give love to others selflessly, we deepen our understanding of our own emotions and needs. Similarly, when we allow ourselves to receive love, we begin to acknowledge our own worth and value, cultivating a sense of self-compassion and confidence. This self-awareness strengthens our ability to engage in healthy, balanced relationships with others as we become more attuned to our own emotional landscape. As we develop our emotional intelligence, we become more adept at recognizing the subtle ways in which love manifests in relationships. Love is not just about grand gestures or big declarations. It is often found in the small, everyday acts of kindness and care. It can be seen in the thoughtful words we share, the time we spend with loved ones, or the simple acts of service we perform for others. When we approach love with emotional intelligence, we are able to recognize these moments and appreciate the depth of connection they bring. In conclusion, learning to give and receive love with emotional intelligence is one of the most profound and transformative practices we can engage in. It requires self-awareness, vulnerability, empathy, and gratitude, and it allows us to create deeper, more meaningful connections with others. When we cultivate emotional intelligence in our relationships, we not only enhance our capacity to love, but also build stronger, more resilient connections that stand the test of time. Love, when given and received with emotional intelligence, becomes the foundation upon which we can build lasting, fulfilling relationships that bring joy, growth, and connection into our lives. Chapter 17. Practice gratitude daily to cultivate a positive emotional state. Gratitude is a powerful force that has the ability to reshape our emotional state and transform the way we experience life. It is more than just a fleeting feeling or a temporary burst of positivity. It is a mindset, a way of being that can profoundly impact our emotional well-being. When practiced consistently, gratitude can help us cultivate a positive emotional state, even in the face of adversity. It is not merely about acknowledging what is good in our lives, but about training our minds to focus on the positives, to appreciate the small moments, and to find the silver linings, no matter how hidden they may seem. Gratitude is the practice of recognizing and appreciating the good in our lives, from the big moments of achievement to the small, everyday blessings that often go unnoticed. When we practice gratitude, we shift our focus away from what is lacking or what is wrong, and we begin to see the abundance that surrounds us. This simple act of acknowledgement can have profound effects on our emotional state, as it helps us build a more optimistic outlook on life. It is a habit that, when cultivated daily, has the power to elevate our mood, reduce stress, and improve our overall well-being. One of the key benefits of practicing gratitude daily is that it helps rewire our brain. Our minds are naturally inclined to focus on the negative. This is an evolutionary trait that helped our ancestors stay alert to danger and avoid threats. However, in today's world, this tendency often works against us, causing unnecessary stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. By intentionally focusing on gratitude, we counteract this negativity bias and retrain our brains to recognize the positives in our lives. This shift in perspective is not about ignoring challenges or pretending that everything is perfect, but rather about recognizing that even in difficult times, there is always something to be grateful for. Research has shown that people who regularly practice gratitude experience a wide range of emotional and psychological benefits. They tend to have higher levels of happiness, lower levels of depression, and stronger immune systems. Gratitude also helps improve our relationships, as it fosters a sense of connection and appreciation for others. When we express gratitude to those around us, whether through a simple thank you or a more heartfelt acknowledgement, we strengthen our bonds and build deeper, more meaningful connections. However, the benefits of gratitude go beyond just emotional well-being. Gratitude can also improve our physical health. Studies have found that people who practice gratitude regularly tend to experience fewer health problems, sleep better, and engage in healthier behaviors. This is because gratitude reduces stress, which in turn lowers the levels of cortisol, the stress hormone in the body. With less stress, the body is able to function more optimally, leading to better overall health. The key to reaping the full benefits of gratitude is consistency. Gratitude is not a one-time practice, but rather something that must be integrated into our daily lives. Like any habit, the more we practice it, the more natural it becomes. Over time, gratitude becomes a lens through which we view the world, and it becomes easier to find things to appreciate, even on the most challenging days. One of the simplest and most effective ways to practice gratitude daily is through journaling. Taking just a few minutes each day to write down 3 things we are grateful for can have a profound impact on our emotional state. These things don't have to be grand or extraordinary. They can be as simple as a warm cup of coffee in the morning, a kind word from a friend, or the beauty of a sunset. The key is to focus on the positives, no matter how small they may seem. By doing this, we train our minds to seek out the good, and we begin to notice the many blessings that are already present in our lives. Another powerful way to practice gratitude is through mindfulness. By bringing our attention to the present moment and fully experiencing the things we are grateful for, we can deepen our sense of appreciation. This could be as simple as pausing for a few seconds to appreciate the warmth of the sun on our skin, or the sound of birds singing outside. The practice of mindfulness helps us stay grounded in the here and now, allowing us to fully savor the positive experiences that come our way. It is also important to express gratitude to others. Taking the time to acknowledge and appreciate the people in our lives not only strengthens our relationships, but also reinforces our own feelings of gratitude. A sincere thank you, a compliment, or a gesture of kindness can make a world of difference in someone's day. When we express gratitude, we not only lift the spirits of others, but we also reinforce our own sense of abundance and positivity. Gratitude can also be practiced in the face of adversity. Life is not always smooth sailing, and there will undoubtedly be times when things don't go as planned. During these times, it can be difficult to find reasons to be grateful. However, this is when gratitude is most powerful. Even in the midst of challenges, there are lessons to be learned, opportunities for growth, and moments of beauty to be found. By focusing on what we can be grateful for, even in the hardest times, we shift our perspective and open ourselves up to new possibilities. This doesn't mean ignoring our feelings or pretending that everything is fine when it's not. Instead, it means acknowledging the difficulty of the situation while also recognizing the things we can appreciate, even in the midst of struggle. For example, if we are going through a tough time at work, instead of focusing solely on the frustration or challenges, we can practice gratitude for the skills we are developing, the lessons we are learning, or the support we are receiving from colleagues. By shifting our focus to these positive aspects, we not only cultivate a more positive emotional state, but we also build resilience and inner strength, which are crucial for navigating tough times. Another powerful practice is gratitude meditation. This involves taking a few minutes each day to sit quietly and reflect on the things we are grateful for. We can focus on specific people, experiences, or aspects of our lives that bring us joy and appreciation. As we meditate on these things, we allow ourselves to fully experience the emotions associated with them, feelings of warmth, love, contentment, and joy. This practice helps us deepen our emotional connection to gratitude and enhances the positive effects it has on our mental and emotional well-being. One of the greatest things about gratitude is that it is a practice that can be shared. We don't have to practice gratitude alone. We can involve others in the process, whether it's by sharing our gratitude with loved ones or by encouraging others to practice gratitude in their own lives. This creates a ripple effect, spreading positivity and appreciation throughout our communities. When we share gratitude with others, we not only uplift them, but we also reinforce our own sense of abundance and connection. Gratitude is a transformative practice that can shift our emotional state and improve our overall well-being. By practicing gratitude daily, we cultivate a positive emotional state that allows us to navigate life with a greater sense of peace, joy, and resilience. It helps us rewire our brains, focus on the positives, and build stronger connections with others. Gratitude is not just about appreciating the big moments, but also about finding joy in the small, everyday blessings that surround us. When we make gratitude a daily practice, we begin to see the world through a lens of abundance, and we open ourselves up to a life filled with positivity, growth, and connection. Chapter 18. Lead with empathy to inspire and motivate others around you. Empathy is not just a virtue, it is a leadership tool that can inspire, motivate, and transform the people around you. When you lead with empathy, you create an environment where people feel heard, understood, and valued. This type of leadership fosters trust, builds stronger relationships, and inspires others to perform at their highest potential. Leading with empathy doesn't require you to have all the answers or to always agree with others. It requires you to listen, understand, and respond to the emotional needs of those around you. At its core, empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes and truly feel what they are feeling. It goes beyond just listening to what someone is saying. It's about tuning into their emotions and responding with compassion. This level of understanding creates an emotional connection, making others feel seen and heard. When people feel understood, they are more likely to open up, trust, and follow your lead. In a leadership context, empathy is crucial because it allows you to connect with your team on a human level. It shows that you care about them not just as employees or team members, but as individuals with unique emotions, challenges, and experiences. When people feel valued in this way, they are more likely to be engaged, motivated, and loyal. Empathetic leadership leads to higher job satisfaction, better team collaboration, and more effective problem solving. To lead with empathy, you must first cultivate self-awareness. Understanding your own emotions and reactions is the foundation for understanding others. If you are not in tune with your own feelings, it becomes much harder to empathize with someone else. Emotional intelligence, which includes self-awareness, is essential for empathetic leadership. When you are able to regulate your own emotions and remain calm in challenging situations, you can better connect with others without letting your own biases or emotions cloud your judgment. The next step in leading with empathy is active listening. Most of us listen to respond rather than to understand. When you listen actively, you focus entirely on what the other person is saying, without interrupting or planning your response. Active listening means paying attention to both verbal and non-verbal cues, such as body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions. By doing this, you can gain deeper insight into the person's emotions and needs, allowing you to respond in a way that resonates with them. Empathetic leaders don't just listen to words, they also pick up on the emotions behind those words. For example, if someone expresses frustration about a project, an empathetic leader will not only acknowledge the words, but will also recognize the emotional undertone, whether it's stress, disappointment, or a sense of overwhelm. By validating those emotions, the leader helps the person feel understood, which in turn strengthens the relationship. Once you have listened with empathy, it's important to respond with compassion. This means offering support, encouragement, or understanding, rather than judgment or criticism. When you respond with empathy, you acknowledge the other person's feelings and offer your help in a way that meets their emotional needs. A compassionate response shows that you are genuinely concerned for their well-being and that you value their perspective. It helps to create a safe space where individuals feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and emotions. Empathetic leadership also involves being present. This means giving your full attention to the person in front of you, whether you are having a one-on-one conversation or leading a team meeting. Being present means putting away distractions like your phone or computer and fully engaging with the person or people you are speaking with. When you are fully present, it shows that you respect their time and that you are invested in their success and happiness. It also sets a powerful example for others, encouraging them to be present and attentive in their interactions. Another key aspect of leading with empathy is recognizing and addressing the emotional needs of your team. People are motivated not just by tasks or goals, but also by how they feel about the work they are doing and the people they are working with. As a leader, you must be attuned to the emotions of your team and understand how those emotions impact performance. If someone is feeling stressed or overwhelmed, providing support or encouragement can help them feel more confident and capable. If someone is feeling undervalued, taking the time to express appreciation can boost their morale and motivation. Empathy also involves being open to feedback and recognizing when you need to adjust your approach. Leaders who are empathetic are not defensive when they receive feedback. They are open to hearing others' perspectives and adjusting their behavior accordingly. This willingness to listen and learn from others fosters a culture of mutual respect and trust. When people know that their opinions matter and that they can speak honestly without fear of retaliation, they are more likely to contribute their best ideas and efforts. Leading with empathy requires vulnerability. As a leader, you must be willing to show your human side, acknowledging that you too experience challenges, emotions, and setbacks. When you share your own vulnerabilities, you create an environment where others feel safe doing the same. This mutual openness fosters deeper connections and a sense of shared humanity. People are more likely to follow a leader who is authentic and real, rather than someone who presents an image of perfection or invincibility. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it is a strength that builds trust and inspires loyalty. Empathy also involves recognizing and valuing diversity. People come from different backgrounds, cultures, and experiences, and those differences shape how they view the world and how they respond to situations. Empathetic leaders are able to embrace these differences and use them to strengthen their teams. By recognizing the unique strengths and perspectives of each individual, you can foster a more inclusive and collaborative environment. This inclusivity makes people feel seen and heard, which leads to increased engagement and motivation. When you lead with empathy, you create a ripple effect. Your behavior and attitude set the tone for the entire team. If you approach situations with understanding and compassion, others will follow suit. Empathy encourages cooperation, collaboration, and a sense of shared purpose. People are more likely to support one another, offer help when needed, and celebrate each other's successes. This positive, supportive environment leads to higher levels of performance, creativity, and job satisfaction. Leading with empathy is not about being soft or permissive. It's about understanding the emotional dynamics of a situation and responding in a way that brings out the best in others. It's about motivating people through compassion and understanding, not through fear or coercion. When you lead with empathy, you inspire loyalty, foster trust, and create a culture of mutual respect. You build stronger relationships, and you enable people to thrive. The impact of empathetic leadership extends beyond just the people you lead. When you lead with empathy, you contribute to a broader culture of compassion and understanding in your organization or community. Empathy becomes a shared value, guiding the way people interact with one another and solve problems. This positive, empathetic culture leads to increased collaboration, higher morale, and greater innovation. It also sets a powerful example for future leaders, creating a legacy of empathy that can continue for generations. Ultimately, leading with empathy is about recognizing the inherent worth of every individual and treating them with kindness, respect, and understanding. It's about seeing people not just as employees or team members, but as human beings with emotions, aspirations, and challenges. When you lead with empathy, you inspire others to be their best selves, and you create an environment where everyone can thrive. Empathy is the key to unlocking the potential in others, and it is the foundation for building lasting, meaningful relationships that drive success. Chapter 19. Apply emotional intelligence to make better life decisions consistently. The decisions we make every day shape the course of our lives. Whether they're big choices, like changing careers, or small ones, like how we respond to a difficult situation, the quality of our decisions has a profound impact on our overall well-being, success, and happiness. But decision-making is not just about logic or intellect, it's also deeply tied to our emotions. Emotional intelligence plays a crucial role in helping us make better life decisions consistently. It allows us to tune into our feelings, understand the emotions of others, and navigate complex situations with wisdom and balance. Emotional intelligence, EI, often referred to as EQ, is the ability to recognize, understand, manage, and influence emotions, both within ourselves and in others. High emotional intelligence enables us to approach life with clarity, make informed decisions, and maintain emotional balance during times of stress or uncertainty. When we apply emotional intelligence to our decision-making process, we don't just react impulsively or emotionally. Instead, we engage in thoughtful, balanced choices that consider both our feelings and the facts, allowing us to create the outcomes we truly desire. To make better life decisions consistently, it's important to cultivate and apply emotional intelligence across 5 key areas: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Each of these components contributes to how we approach decisions, interact with others, and ultimately shape our lives. Self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. It involves recognizing and understanding our emotions as they arise, without judgment. The more self-aware we are, the better we can make decisions that align with our true values, needs, and desires. Self-awareness helps us to identify when our emotions are influencing our choices, allowing us to step back and evaluate whether our decisions are truly in our best interest or if we're simply reacting out of fear, anger, or frustration. By understanding our emotional triggers, we can break free from autopilot reactions and start making more intentional, thoughtful choices. For example, imagine you are considering a new job offer. If you're not self-aware, you might make the decision based on external pressures, such as what others think or the fear of missing out on an opportunity. However, if you take the time to pause and reflect on your emotions, such as excitement, anxiety, or doubt, you'll have a clearer understanding of what's driving your decision. Self-awareness allows you to ask yourself the critical questions: do I want this job because it aligns with my long-term goals, or am I just seeking validation from others? Are my fears of failure clouding my judgment, or is this a genuine opportunity for growth? Once we have cultivated self-awareness, the next step is self-regulation. Self-regulation is the ability to manage our emotions in a healthy, constructive way. It's about being able to control impulses and reactions, rather than allowing emotions to take the reins and dictate our behavior. When we make decisions based on emotional reactions, such as making a snap judgment or acting out of anger or fear, we risk making choices that we might regret later. On the other hand, when we practice self-regulation, we give ourselves the space to pause, reflect, and make decisions that are aligned with our values and long-term goals. In the context of decision-making, self-regulation helps us navigate difficult emotions such as fear, anxiety, or frustration without letting them control our actions. For instance, if you're facing a challenging situation at work, instead of reacting impulsively or lashing out in frustration, self-regulation allows you to take a step back, breathe, and approach the situation with calm and clarity. This helps you make decisions that are based on reason rather than emotional reactivity. Motivation is another key component of emotional intelligence that plays a vital role in decision-making. People with high levels of emotional intelligence are typically motivated by intrinsic factors such as personal growth, meaningful work, and long-term success. This internal motivation drives them to make decisions that are in alignment with their values and aspirations, rather than being swayed by external rewards or fleeting desires. When we are clear about what truly motivates us, we are better equipped to make decisions that will bring us lasting fulfillment and happiness. For example, if you are deciding whether to stay in your current job or pursue a new career path, your intrinsic motivation will guide you to focus on what truly matters to you. Do you value personal development and career growth more than financial stability? Are you motivated by the opportunity to make a meaningful impact, or are you seeking a sense of security and comfort? When you make decisions based on your intrinsic motivation, you are more likely to create a life that is aligned with your true purpose and aspirations. Empathy is another crucial component of emotional intelligence that influences our decision-making. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. When we can see things from other people's perspectives, we are better able to make decisions that consider the needs, emotions, and viewpoints of those around us. In both personal and professional contexts, empathy allows us to build stronger relationships, foster collaboration, and make decisions that benefit everyone involved, not just ourselves. For instance, if you are a manager making a decision that will affect your team, empathy allows you to consider how your decision will impact their work, emotions, and overall well-being. Instead of making a decision based solely on data or efficiency, you will consider the human side of the equation, how your team members will feel about the changes, and how they can be supported through the transition. By considering the emotional impact of your decisions, you create a more supportive and positive environment that fosters trust and cooperation. Finally, social skills, the ability to build and maintain healthy relationships, are crucial when applying emotional intelligence to decision-making. Strong social skills enable us to communicate effectively, resolve conflicts, and collaborate with others to make better decisions. In group decision-making situations, emotional intelligence allows us to navigate differing opinions and perspectives with respect and understanding, facilitating constructive dialogue and consensus building. In situations where we must make decisions that involve others, emotional intelligence helps us balance our own needs with the needs of those around us. It enables us to communicate our thoughts and feelings clearly, listen to others with an open mind, and work together to find solutions that benefit everyone. Whether we are negotiating a deal, resolving a conflict, or collaborating on a project, emotional intelligence enhances our ability to make decisions that create win-win outcomes. Applying emotional intelligence to decision-making doesn't mean that we'll always make perfect decisions. We are all human, and there will always be times when our emotions cloud our judgment, or when we make mistakes. However, when we practice emotional intelligence consistently, we increase our ability to make better decisions, more aligned with our values and long-term goals. The key is to develop a heightened awareness of our emotions and use that awareness to guide our choices, rather than letting emotions control our behavior. With time and practice, emotional intelligence becomes a powerful tool for making life decisions that lead to greater fulfillment, success, and happiness. When we approach life with emotional intelligence, we cultivate the ability to respond thoughtfully and mindfully, even in the face of difficult emotions or challenging situations. We learn to trust our intuition and make decisions that reflect our deepest desires and values, while also considering the needs and perspectives of those around us. In this way, emotional intelligence becomes not just a skill but a way of living, one that empowers us to make decisions that create positive outcomes and move us closer to the life we truly want to live. By consistently applying emotional intelligence in our decision-making process, we can create a life that is aligned with our true self, where every decision reflects our values, aspirations, and emotional needs. Whether we are making decisions about our careers, relationships, or personal growth, emotional intelligence provides the clarity and insight needed to navigate the complexities of life and make choices that lead to lasting fulfillment and success. Chapter 20. Commit to lifelong emotional growth by embracing continuous learning. Lifelong emotional growth isn't just a goal, it's a commitment to continuously evolving, understanding, and improving ourselves. The emotional growth process is an ongoing journey, one that requires conscious effort and dedication. It's a commitment to understanding our emotions, learning from our experiences, and using that knowledge to develop a deeper, more meaningful relationship with ourselves and others. When we embrace emotional growth as a lifelong practice, we open ourselves up to endless possibilities for personal development, connection, and fulfillment. The emotional landscape of our lives is vast and ever-changing. We all encounter challenges, setbacks, triumphs, and moments of vulnerability. In each of these moments, there is an opportunity for growth. But to truly embrace lifelong emotional growth, we must approach our emotional experiences with curiosity, openness, and a willingness to learn. The key to this growth is not just in how we respond to our emotions, but in our commitment to learning from them. When we commit to lifelong emotional growth, we make a conscious decision to engage with our emotions rather than avoid them. Emotional growth isn't about repressing negative emotions or pretending everything is always okay. Instead, It's about developing the emotional intelligence and resilience to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and awareness. It's about cultivating a mindset that sees every experience, whether positive or negative, as an opportunity to learn and evolve. One of the most powerful tools we have for emotional growth is self-awareness. By developing the ability to observe and understand our emotions, we create the foundation for lasting change. Self-awareness is not about judging ourselves or our emotions. It's about accepting our feelings and allowing ourselves the space to feel and process them. When we can identify what triggers certain emotional reactions, we can start to break free from old patterns and create new, healthier ways of responding. For example, imagine you often feel anxious in social situations. Instead of ignoring or suppressing that anxiety, lifelong emotional growth encourages you to pause and explore the emotion. What is the root cause of this anxiety? Are there underlying fears or beliefs that contribute to it? By getting curious about your emotions, you create an opportunity to understand them more deeply, which can ultimately help you respond to them in a more empowered and balanced way. Emotional growth comes from taking the time to ask these kinds of questions and seeking answers with compassion and patience. Another important aspect of emotional growth is the willingness to embrace vulnerability. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, but in reality, it's a key ingredient in building emotional strength. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we open the door to deeper connections with others and with ourselves. Vulnerability invites us to be honest about our feelings, share our struggles, and ask for support when needed. It's through these moments of vulnerability that we learn to trust ourselves and others more fully, which in turn strengthens our emotional resilience. As we continue to learn and grow emotionally, it's important to remember that this journey is not linear. There will be times when we feel like we've made significant progress, and there will be moments when we feel like we've taken a step backward. This is all part of the process. Growth doesn't happen in a straight line. It's a dynamic, evolving experience. The key is to remain committed to learning from every experience, whether it's a success or a setback. Each challenge is an opportunity to deepen our emotional understanding and develop greater self-compassion. Emotional growth also requires us to build emotional resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity, hardship, and setbacks. Resilience is not about avoiding difficulty, but about learning how to navigate it with strength and grace. When we cultivate emotional resilience, we become better equipped to handle life's challenges and maintain our emotional equilibrium even when faced with stress, loss, or disappointment. Emotional resilience is a skill that can be developed over time through consistent practice and self-reflection. One of the most powerful ways to build emotional resilience is by embracing a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. When we apply this mindset to our emotional lives, we recognize that emotional growth is not something we achieve once and for all. It's an ongoing process that requires consistent effort and learning. By adopting a growth mindset, we shift our perspective from seeing challenges as obstacles to viewing them as opportunities for growth. As we commit to lifelong emotional growth, we must also recognize the importance of self-compassion. In our fast-paced, achievement-driven culture, it's easy to become focused on external successes and accomplishments. But emotional growth is not about striving for perfection or measuring ourselves against others. It's about showing up for ourselves with kindness, understanding, and patience. Self-compassion allows us to embrace our imperfections and mistakes without judgment, and it provides the emotional nourishment we need to keep moving forward, even when the road gets tough. Another key component of lifelong emotional growth is learning to manage our emotions in healthy ways. This means developing strategies for coping with stress, anxiety, and other challenging emotions without resorting to unhealthy behaviors such as overeating, substance abuse, or emotional withdrawal. Healthy emotional management involves learning how to regulate our emotions, express them constructively, and find balance in our emotional lives. This can include practices such as mindfulness, meditation, journaling, or seeking support from trusted friends or a therapist. Over time, as we commit to lifelong emotional growth, we begin to see the benefits in all areas of our lives. We become more attuned to our needs and desires, and we develop stronger, more meaningful relationships with others. We are better able to navigate difficult emotions and experiences with resilience and grace. Our emotional intelligence increases, allowing us to make more thoughtful, informed decisions that align with our values and goals. The process of emotional growth is not just about improving ourselves, it's also about cultivating a deeper connection with others. As we develop emotional intelligence, we become more empathetic and attuned to the feelings of those around us. We become better listeners, more compassionate partners, and more supportive friends. Our ability to empathize with others' emotions allows us to form stronger bonds and create a sense of community and connection. Embracing continuous learning is essential to emotional growth. Just as we would never expect to stop learning in other areas of our lives, whether it's our careers, hobbies, or personal development, emotional growth requires the same level of commitment. It's a lifelong pursuit, one that evolves as we move through different stages of life and encounter new experiences. The beauty of committing to lifelong emotional growth is that there's no end point. It's not about reaching a state of emotional perfection or arriving at a place where we no longer need to learn. Instead, emotional growth is about continually refining our emotional awareness, deepening our understanding of ourselves, and expanding our capacity for empathy and connection. It's about becoming more fully human, embracing the full spectrum of our emotions, learning from them, and using that wisdom to create a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Ultimately, committing to lifelong emotional growth means choosing to live with greater awareness, openness, and authenticity. It means approaching every experience with the mindset that there is always something to learn, always an opportunity